passes. I will entertain a motion to approve the meeting, for the minutes from the May 6, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner DeRuiter and seconded by Commissioner Vincent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Will staff in attendance please introduce yourselves?
Wes McCart, Director.
Sam Albee, Planner 1.
Jem Bellamore, Planner 2.
Rebecca Gillies, Service Administrator.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Pat Kelly, Contract Planner.
Nicole Stickney, also contract planner. We're here with AHBL. We contract with the county for on-call planning services.
Thank you. It is now time for the public portion of our meeting. Good evening and welcome. Here are the ground rules for tonight's hearing. 1, in-person public testimony will go first. Each person will be called upon to speak during their allotted in-person public testimony section. Please state your name for the record. Next, emailed comments received during the public hearing will be read into the record by staff after in-person testimony section of the hearing. 3, all comments shall be addressed to the Planning Commission and should be relevant to the application. 4, each speaker shall have 5 minutes to provide testimony, hopefully less, and speak into the microphone. 5, please avoid repetitive comments. If there are, we will mention it. 6, please be respectful of each speaker. Avoid personal attacks or disruptive behavior. Are there any questions regarding the public hearing ground rules? Okay, turning for a moment to our commission members, let us keep in mind that we are prohibited by law from communicating with members of the public on the subject matter of these hearings except in these hearings. We may not participate in discussions in which there is an appearance of conflict of interest to the average person. So let us take a minute to consider as to the matters which are before us for hearing today. Whether we have had any ex parte communications, whether we have any ownership interest in the properties, whether we have any business dealings with proponents or opponents of the matters, or whether we have business associates or immediate family members who may either be benefited or harmed by a decision in these matters. Are there any commission members who have a declaration at this time regarding any of the items on the agenda?
Commissioner Corrales, I've had a business relationship with someone in regards to the public hearing item number 1, and I'm electing to recuse myself.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Let the record show Commissioner DeRuiter is going to be excluded. Is there anyone in the audience this evening who would object to any commission member hearing any of the items on the agenda? Let the record show there were no objections. The order of the hearing shall be as follows. Planning staff shall provide a staff report. The commission may ask questions of staff. 2, the applicant or applicant's representative's presentation. 3, in-person public testimony. 4, email public testimony read into the record by staff. 5, final staff comments. 6, close the public testimony and Planning Commission discuss deliberation of the proposed action. Are there any procedural questions before we begin the public hearing? Okay, item number 1 is a public hearing for file PUD 2025-1, Cherrywood Estates. The proposal is for a planned unit development to divide 4 parcels, parcel 126-190-342, parcel 126-190-345, and parcel 126-190-336, and parcel 126-200-011 with a total of 79.03 acres in size into 94 single-family resident lots. Average lot size is 23,597 square feet with a minimum lot size of 21,802 square feet. in the Rural Community 1 zoning district. The county's comprehensive plan designates the subject parcel as rural shoreline development. Applicant is requesting a PUD in order to reduce the minimum lot size for all of the lots within the development. I declare the public hearing for PUD 2025-1 to be open at 6:23. May we have staff present the staff report, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Pat Kelly, contract planner for this project. This slide summarizes the basic characteristics of the project. It is a planned unit development, which is a division of land. Location on Columbia River Road, the parcel numbers as read out by the chair. The zoning for this property is rural community, RC1, which allows one dwelling unit per acre on the site. The comprehensive plan land use designation for the property is rural shoreline development, and also a local area of more intensive rural development, and has been designated in this manner for approximately the past, since approximately 2005, 2004 in that area. So it's been an area that has been planned for this type of single-family residential development for a great deal of time at this point. It is not in shoreline jurisdiction. As the chair mentioned, the property is 79.03 acres. Oh, apologize for that. Hear me okay now? Oh, that's better. Okay. Thank you. All right. So our next slide just summarizes the location of the property, located generally east of Columbia River Road, south of the terminus of Geisler Road, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Sunray Estate subdivision. The request is to divide the land into 94 single-family residential lots. The PUD features a Group A public water system, individual septic systems, and 15% open space with limited amenities. And that constitutes approximately 11.85 acres of the site. The project would be constructed in phases. But before we go into what those phases are, staff would like to point out that there are some facts in the staff report that need clarification. First of all, with regard to the surrounding uses and lot sizes, the Sunray Estates subdivision is a 13 lot subdivision, not 14 lots as originally stated in the report. And the lot sizes in that subdivision range from 2.2 acres to about 3 acres. We had included a parcel within that subdivision erroneously that was of 1.24 acres, so we regret that error. The River Ridge Estates project was described as having lots ranging in size from 0.5 acres. Actually, no, they have lot sizes ranging from 0.5 acres, not quarter of an acre as originally described. That was an error. So within River Ridge Estates, those lot sizes range from 0.5 to 0.75 acres. So that just gives some context of the surrounding development. The other subdivisions surrounding the site were described correctly in the report. Some of these clarifications also need to be made in the PUD approval requirements chapter or section of the staff report as listed above. I don't want to read this whole paragraph out for you out loud, but hopefully this information was passed out to the commission as a point of clarification. The 13 lots versus the 14 lots, the lot size ranges, and also the correct description of the surroundings of the property. Subdivisions to the south of the site have been divided into lots of approximately 5 acres each and currently under agricultural production. That wasn't in the last staff report, so hopefully that gives some improved context. Okay, so last item is the number of surrounding residential subdivisions should have been described as 5 and not 3. The location reference should have been described as not within a mile, but adjacent to the site. So overall, lot subdivision sizes or lot sizes of surrounding subdivision should have been described as ranging from 0.5 to 5 acres, not 0.47 to 1.37 acres. So we apologize for this error. So in order to continue those clarifications into the PUD findings, we'd like to, we just wanted to kind of spell out what exactly the first PUD district recommended finding should be. And it reads, there are 5 residential subdivisions adjacent to the subject property, including 3 along the Columbia River and 2 abutting the site to the north. These subdivisions range in size from 8 to 36 lots, with lot sizes ranging from approximately 0.5 acres to 5 acres. And that the property is bordered to the north, south, and west by land in the RC1 and RC5 districts. And all this is to say, in summary, that there are a variety of lot sizes in subdivisions surrounding the parcel, ranging in the sizes as mentioned, and this is just a matter of kind of clarifying where those sizes occur and their proximity to the site. Okay, this next slide shows the vicinity of the Cherrywood PUD, adjacent to Columbia River Road. And kind of the image on the right shows its proximity to Larkspur Road, Geisler Road, and again the Columbia River Road to the west. And this is about 3.5 miles north of Pasco. We wanted to take kind of care to point out that this is an area that has been planned for residential growth for quite some time. The area in the aqua shaded color with the black arrow pointing to it is the Lammard area. And again, signifying local area of more intensive residential development. So it has been planned for this type of development for some time.
Thanks, Patrick. I just wanted to interject real quick and explain this graphic comes from the county comprehensive plan. It's a little snippet of it. It was created some years ago, so the annexation boundaries to the south of Pasco have probably been amended, but we just wanted to show you this classification of the land for the spot. So the site that is shown in the yellow bound, that is the proximate site location there. And so as you can see, it is towards the north end of this Lammard, but this is, again, area that has been designated for residential development, and it is not within any lands that have been designated for other rural development or for agricultural land conservation.
Okay, moving into the project itself. The slide here describes the proposed layout of the property. Taking access from, let's see, indirectly off Columbia River Road via Panoramic Drive. The site area, kind of shaded in yellow, is a bit elevated from the parcels. Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh, excellent. Okay, great. So the topography of the site this is currently in cherry orchard production, and this is a recent subdivision that was approved and is slowly being developed. There are 1 or 2 houses in this subdivision currently, and the property generally slopes down to the river. These are kind of sloping lots going from east to west. And the project phasing is kind of illustrated here. Phase 1 2 towards the middle, 3 to the southeast, 4 to the south. So the 4 project phases. We just talked about earlier about how the site incorporates open space, and this slide shows where that open space is located, primarily to buffer the project site from adjacent agricultural lands to the east. And the next slide is the roadway network, proposed to connect to Panoramic Drive and then to Columbia River Road.
Can you go back 1 second?
Sure.
The other, I'm going to interject once again. The other thing I wanted to call out here is that you may see this designation of SEVA access to the north. That's connecting to, I think, Larkspur Road and Geisler Road. Those are not going to be open connections, so folks won't be able to drive straight through that. It's not going to connect those neighborhoods. To the contrary, this is going to be emergency access only, and so it's really for emergency egress or ingress purposes. It's important to have those areas of connectivity in the case of an emergency, but again, it's not going to be planned as any sort of routine circulation area.
Thank you, Nicole. This slide summarizes the project phasing, kind of illustrated in the slides before. And this slide kind of details what Nicole was just talking about at the bottom, the supplemental emergency vehicle access points in the, let's see, I think this is right. Yeah, the orange arrows here represent where the supplemental EVA occurs along the north end of the north boundary of the property. Okay, so essentially the zoning district that would normally go with this particular comprehensive plan designation is RC5, or actually no, RC1, apologize. So that basically would involve, right now, like the current zoning is RC1, which allows 1 dwelling unit per acre. The county code has a provision to allow a planned unit approach to developing properties, which basically, in exchange for providing amenities, and this, the code is specific on this, providing 15% of open space to the site, that they're allowed to basically reduce the lot sizes to, there is actually no minimum lot size they can reduce to. It's just what the overall requirement is that they maintain the required, the minimum required density, which in this case is 1 dwelling unit per acre, and they get a 20% density bonus for including the common open space. So that's the approach that the applicants have taken in this case, and the proposed lot sizes are 0.5 acres to 0.75 acres, whereas it would normally be required to be 1 acre, but for the inclusion of the common open space. And the common open space includes land to be used for native landscaping, recreational opportunities such as walking trails, and a dog park.
Give you a pause, you drink of water. I also wanted to call out, many of us who've been in this room here recently are well familiar with the relatively recent change to the county code regarding the amount of open space designation at a minimum point that must be designated for a PUD. It used to be 35% a little while back, but the commissioners did change that following a recommendation by the Planning Commission a short time ago. Unfortunately, it didn't go to the codifier very quickly, so it took a little while for the online codes to be updated. So I just wanted to call that out in case there was any confusion for folks who were unfamiliar with this, maybe new to this type of process. But the current county requirement is 15%, not 35%. Thanks.
Okay, next slide lists the mitigation measures proposed for the project, which basically involved dust control during the site construction, inadvertent discovery protocol during construction in case of archaeological resources being inadvertently discovered. A Group A public water system with operational fire hydrants is required. And on that point, the water system that is proposed to serve this site upon development is the Richview Water System, and this system obtained approval of a conditional use permit. The system, as currently designed and approved, does not fully reach the project site, and so a new conditional use permit is required to extend this system to serve the project before the final plat can be recorded and lots developed. Other mitigation measures include a drainage system to capture, dispose of stormwater runoff, dust control measures that are a requirement of Franklin County's clean air and dust control best management practices. The following of the geotechnical report recommendations is also included as a measure, and if the proposed potable water and fire suppression methods to be served by an adjacent Group A water system does not receive approval, the plat will start over. So essentially, if that Group A water system that is going to be provided by the Richview water system does not get approved, then the plat process has to start over, and the property would have to be evaluated under potentially drawing water from individual wells.
And these were the SEPA conditions that were set administratively by the department. And so I just want to call out, these are the mitigation measures under the State Environmental Policy Act. In a few more slides, we'll go over our proposed plat conditions for this project.
Okay. Essentially, received, obviously, due to the interest you can tell in the attendance tonight and letters, there were several comments provided on the project. Many of the comments focused on traffic was a big topic, impacts on Columbia River Road and other adjacent roads. This project has been reviewed by the Public Works Department of the county, the LOS standard, which is a level of service ranging from A to F, A being an ideal kind of free-flowing of traffic conditions, and F being fully congested, multiple light cycles necessary to get people through intersections, a lot of congestion intersections essentially, and C being kind of the middle of the road where there's some level of congestion, but it's very manageable. Anyway, the county road standard level of service is C, and the project has been reviewed and determined based on the number of lots that it will not exceed that standard. It will continue to operate as a level of service C. Other comments address the compatibility of the project with surrounding land uses, and essentially it is a single family, one dwelling unit per lot project that is consistent with the type of pattern that is around the site. So the subdivisions to the north are larger, to be sure, 2.5 acres to 5 acres. There are 1 acre lots to the west, 5 acre lots to the south. But this particular piece of property was zoned RC1, which allows 1 acre properties. And through the PUD process, that can be reduced with the provision of the open space. So essentially, it's a single family project within a single family context. And for that reason, staff believes it is compatible with the area. I believe there's some additional comments that may be entered into the record at the hearing. Wes, was there anything that you wanted to add at this time?
No, we'll add that at the end.
Okay, thank you. Several agencies reviewed this project, Department of Ecology, Benton Franklin Health District, the Assessor's Office, South Columbia Basin Irrigation District, Department of Archaeological and Historic Preservation, and Franklin County Public Works. The Health Department reviewed the potential use of individual septic systems for the site and the use of the Group A water system, and approved the use of those for the project. Okay, so in summary, staff has reviewed this project, and for the reasons cited, due to the project being compatible with the surrounding, the peripheral treatment of the property will include a compatible mix of single-family uses adjacent to existing single-family. There will be boundary walls constructed along the borders of the existing subdivisions as individual homes get constructed. And the open space provides an additional amenity helping modulate or moderate the density of the project. So staff believes or recommends that the Planning Commission approve the project due to being consistent with these findings as outlined in the staff report. Several conditions of approval are included, which are listed here. There is one additional condition that we would like to include that was not included in the packet with regard to the approval of the conditional use permit for the new water system. And that condition reads, number 10, final approval is contingent upon the Richview water system receiving a new conditional use permit and SEPA approval to allow the service area expansion to include the Cherrywood Estates PUD. And that.
So Patrick, if I can add to that just a little bit. So from the time the SEPA was put in till the time the packet went out, the Richview water system expansion was approved by the Department of Health and also by the Department of Ecology. However, it has not received approval from the county. All three of those conditions need to be met in order to get final approval for the water system.
Okay, thank you. This concludes staff's presentation.
Does any commissioner have questions of staff? Does the applicant or applicant's representative wish to speak or give a presentation?
So, Mr. Chairman, if I might interject here, I think it would be appropriate for me to read into the record the comments we received between the time the staff went out a week ago and today's meeting before the applicant, so everybody is aware of what comments have been submitted. Is that appropriate?
Great.
Thank you. So for the record, again, we received a memo, which went over in the slide presentation from our contract staff, basically going over the changes that were there. I received a comment from Peter Harpster. We're not in disagreement with you on the need for a CUP application. This is in regards to the water system. And we anticipate the additional condition of approval for the plat, of which we have no issue. Just want to bring that to your attention. We received a comment from the engineer, from Craig. John Christensen is the one that authored it. Please see the attached documents related to the Columbia River Road mitigation fees. Mitigation measures are in place for the safety enhancement of the traveling public. Franklin County has adopted a regional level of service, Standard C. Lost transportation facilities is designed by capacity. The primary measure of service quality is time delay, and with speed and capacity utilization employed as secondary measures. Level of service are used as gauge for evaluating the quality of service of the transportation system and can be described by travel times. Table 17 in the handbook is also pointed out, which rural two-lane highways generalized service volume table simplifies that level service C and 50 mile an hour are applicable to Columbia River Road. There's also the attached, for the record, engineering report on Columbia River Road proposed mitigation in that frame, as well as the table and the level of service handbook that was, that I'll point out is in your packet. I did receive the following text message that was meant for the record, that was sent to me. So I forwarded it to myself so I could put it in the record. This was from Mr. Hales, James Hales. This was written as a persuasive, talking about the staff report, this was written as a persuasive argument, trying to convince rather than using any fact, finding an unbiased presentation of evidence. To even say that there are quarter-acre lots is ridiculous. You can't have quarter-acre lot outside the city because you can't have a septic system on it. The entire written recommendation is so unprofessional, inaccurate, and unreliable. I know texting doesn't portray voice well. I am not mad at you, Wes. I know by talking with you that you are a very competent and good person. Well, thank you for the kind words. Trying to do a good job. Please don't be offended, but I have to wonder how can we, the people and citizens of the county, get a proper representation from our government? So that was one. I also received several others that are in your packet that were clips out of the staff report. Same James Hale. I received the email today from the county with the notes on recommending approval for Cherrywood Estates. I just want to point out that these statements on the PUD approval requirements are completely inaccurate. There are only 13 lots in the Sunray Estates development and a minimum lot size of 2.2. In addition, there are 0 lots of quarter-acre size in the River Ridge Estates, and the smallest lot is 0.47 acres, and only 22 total lots of the 63 are less than 1 acre. The statement made by the county publication are inaccurate and misleading. Is this neglect, research, or intended bias? Regardless, it skews the recommendation to the Planning Commission. Despite the 15% green space, the overall density is not moderated. You end up with 94 homes and 79 acre piece of land. I know you can do the math. That is not characteristic of the area where several hundred acres are occupied by 63 lots. Don't forget to include the circle to the south of this proposal, which is minimum 5-acre lot. It also says only 3 comments were received. However, I know for a fact that more than that were received. Rittens, Hoyle, Carlson, Hales, and I expect that there were others as well. Again, pointing out something in the staff report, these findings of fact are completely inaccurate as well. Did anyone read through this? This is misleading. There are no subdivisions to the southeast. There is a canal and RC5 to the southeast. There are also more than 3 subdivisions within a mile, and the 36 lots along the river that are mentioned here are not within a mile. As evidence of that is that the county did not notify them of the development. Ron Carlson will be witness of that. And one more, pointing out suggested findings of fact. Number 4 is complete opinion and not finding of fact. It can be proven that greater harm is done to the safety and health of the community than good. Received another comment here, and this one is really long, but I need to read it anyway because it wasn't in the original report to the public. And this was written by Ed Hoyle. Hopefully I pronounced that right. The following comments address incomplete data and incorrect statements. Providing answers and corrections need to be made before the decisions should be made. Without answer and correction, the proposal should be denied. Plan unit development application packet. The cover letter for the application packet says, designed to offer amenities and features not found in traditional subdivisions. The Cherrywood Estate proposal offer nothing not available in a traditional subdivision. It is nothing except an attempt to put more houses in a given area. The letter also quotes the required 35% open space, but the applicant has requested only 15% based on past ordinance. The concept is permissive in appropriate areas. It is not required to approve a PUD with a 15% aside from open space. PUD must meet all the requirements. 2, the supplemental information document says the irrigation source will be private. In other documents, the application says irrigation will be provided by the South Columbia Basin Irrigation District. Which is it? The supplemental information document says phases are to be determined, yet on the preliminary plat, it shows 4. Which is it? Termination of non-significance. The SEPA checklist is incomplete as several responses by applicant are not answers to the questions. It is possible the applicant is avoiding the potential impacts or they don't know. With the lack of information, the SEPA checklist should be returned. At this point of the process, the DNS should be withdrawn or the project denied. The findings of determination of non-significance are wrong. The DNS should be withdrawn for the following reasons corresponding to specific checklist points. Applicant states that the project is upon permitting, yet the subdivision says there are multiple phases. The response does not match the subdivision plat. Applicant references to Benton Franklin District approval letter. The letter is not approval, it's a preliminary review. The applicant's response is misleading and not true. A8, applicant states that they have submitted an application for a Group A water system. The water source and system availability paperwork submitted with the project proposal is for another area in the county, not this subdivision. The documentation provided by the applicant does not provide proof of domestic water availability. If such approval is made, the documentation should have been provided before the SEPA determination was made. A10, the applicant states the proposal is compatible and complementary to nearby land uses. It is not. There are no other urban half-acre subdivisions even close to this area. B1E, the applicant's response doesn't answer the question. The location to the west had extensive cut and fill to minimize view. The applicant has an idea as to the proposed cut and fill depth. What is proposed for this project? B1G, the applicant knows the length and width of the proposed roads and can estimate coverage, homes, garages, outbuildings, and driveways, etc. The applicant's response doesn't provide information to determine environmental significance. The DNS should be withdrawn. B2A, the applicant's response is incomplete as it doesn't address nearly 1,000 vehicles traveling at least 8 miles to town. B2C, the applicant's response does not acknowledge aerial agricultural spraying of the field to the east will be eliminated. B3A4, the applicant states that the proposed project application that irrigation will be provided by private and SEPA checklist states irrigation will be provided by Skibbid. If Skibbid is the supplier, will it be possible to change the use from agricultural to residential? What is the proposal? B3B1, the applicant claims that the proposed project will be provided by well ID BPS 821. The well is located several miles away from the proposed project. The 90 pages submitted for domestic water does not mention Cherrywood Estates. The ecology letter specifically states the place of use of this water right will be the parcel numbers listed above. The proposed project is not included in those listed. If this has been addressed, was it done before the DNS decision was made? B4E, the applicant states that there are no noxious weeds or invasive species on or near the site. Puncture vine is on the site and listed as a noxious weed. There are probably others as the orchard has not been maintained for weed control. The applicant's response is not an answer to the question. B5D, replacing acres of trees with open space will not enhance opportunity for wildlife. The applicant's response is misleading to say the least. No DNS should be based on this type of answer. B6C, no mention of the increased energy use due to the urban density residential project constructed more than 8 miles from city amenities, while the existing electrical lines handle the increased demand. The DNS should be withdrawn until this issue is addressed. Urban residential development, that's B7B2, urban residential development of 94 homes in a rural setting has a noise impact on the surrounding area. Applicant's response ignores the impact on the surrounding area. B8A, the applicant says the proposal will not affect the use of adjacent properties, but 94 homes next to agriculture will eliminate aerial application because of the liability to spray applicators. B8B, the applicant's response is for a different proposal and not for this proposal. A DNS cannot be determined using the applicant's response. B8C, oversized farm equipment use the existing Columbia River Road. Aerial spray of agricultural land will be eliminated due to liability to the applicators. B8D, the applicant's response is wrong. There is an existing residence on site. B8E, the applicant's response is wrong. The existing residence and shop are planned to be demolished. B8M, the applicant states that the project will be compatible with the existing land use. Half-acre lots in the rural residential, and agricultural area is not compatible. B9C, half-acre lots is a negative impact on the large rural residential lots to the north. Mitigation measures should be taken to reduce the housing impact. B10A, the applicant's response does not answer the question. The DNS should be withdrawn until responses to the questions are complete and accurate. B10B, the applicant is unclear. Are the changes limited or are the views limited? Without clarification, the DNS should not have been issued. B10C, the applicant's response is not true. It does not improve the aesthetics of the area. B11A, subdivision of this size will impact the night vision for the existing rural residents. Resolution of nighttime light pollution should be proposed. B14C, the applicant's response does not answer the question, will the proposal require new or improvements to the existing road, streets, pedestrian, bicycle, etc.? B14E, about 1,000 vehicles entering Columbia River Road at one point will increase the potential for accidents. Restricted road width and weight restrictions on the Squassel Bridge should be addressed. B15A, all public services will be impacted by concentrating 94 homes 8 miles from urban services, including fire protection, police protection, health care, ambulance, school attendance, and school bus routes. B16A, are existing power lines adequate to service the proposed project? No domestic water source for the project has been identified. B16B, the paperwork provided for the domestic water does not include the proposed project area. Irrigation water source has not been estimated. Can the water be transferred from agricultural to residential if SCIBID is a source? Summary, the determination of non-significance was issued based on incomplete, misleading, inaccurate, and wrong responses. The DNS should be withdrawn. The SEPA checklist can be modified or replaced. Once all the responses are submitted, the answers may still be a DNS, but until complete, accurate responses are submitted, a determination should not be made. For now, please withdraw the DNS. Application narrative. 1. The narrative is completely misleading, putting weight on the designation of shoreline rural shoreline is wrong, as the property is not on or close to the shoreline. It is on the flat quarter mile from the body of water and 200 feet higher than elevation. The applicant's statement that the proposed project is clearly compatible is their opinion only, and no matter how often they write it or say it, it doesn't make it a fact. There are more people that say it is not compatible. Number 2, peripheral treatments described in this narrative are not mentioned in the SEPA checklist or the subdivision plan. If that is the plan, these things should be part of the plan. The response is misleading as there is no mention of adjacent farming. The PUD does not ensure proper transition between half-acre lots and all properties to the north, east, and south. The only place where possible proper transition would be the location to the west, where it transitioned from 1 acre to half acre. If the project is approved as it is presented, the peripheral treatments should be included as conditions of approval. 3, totally misleading. The purpose of the PUD district is clearly spelled out in FCC 1758-010 and is not just to make half-acre lots in RC1 zone. That is all the project accomplishes. A subdivision would meet the same goals as the narrative quoted in the PUD. It does not provide anything more than a subdivision would. 4, totally misleading. The responses should be directed towards why the PUD is a benefit. Doubling the housing density 10 miles from the city amenities does not improve public health, safety, and welfare. The subdivision has the exact same results as a PUD, except it is half of the negative impact on public health, safety, and welfare in the rural area. In general, the concept of processing the project as a single event is not right. PUDs consist of two separate things. One is the creation of a district, the second is a physical project. The plans for the district are generally quite simple with no construction details. The plans for the PUD project are essentially construction plans, which are called the final PUD application. With a subdivision, the preliminary plat is essentially a construction plan. The requirements for a final PUD application must include A through K of Franklin County Code 1758-120, which is primarily subdivision plat is only a part of these requirements. It appears the only way to combine the creation of a PUD district, a PUD project, and a subdivision is to submit an application with a preliminary subdivision plat that meets the requirement of Franklin County Title 16 and Franklin County Title 1758-120. Presently, it does not meet the minimum requirements, and therefore the project should be denied. We received comments from James Hale. The findings of fact in the application narrative are inaccurate and deceptive in how they portray the development, which could seriously skew the decision if they are accepted as true. Instead of 94 home on half-acre lots, this development should keep the 1 acre designation and reduce the homes to 45 to 50. Even then, the concerns with water availability is significant. Despite all this, the developer's proposal should be rejected because of the facts are inaccurately presented by the developer. Actual findings of fact, Franklin County Code 1758-090E. A PUD may be recommended for approval only when it has been determined that, 1, the PUD district is compatible with the nearby developments and uses. 2, peripheral treatment ensures proper transition between PUD uses and nearby external uses and development. 3, the development will be in contrast with comprehensive plan and the purposes of the PUD district. 4, the public health, safety, and welfare have been served. Addressing point 1. My facts are taken from the Franklin County Tax Shifter website and Google Earth and refute the inaccurate statements made of fact made by the developers. Harpster says the proposed 94 lots of half-acre size is compatible and even uses the word consistent with the comprehensive plan, which is completely inaccurate. The comprehensive plan does not allow anything less than 1 acre, with the rare exception of Riverview lots that go down to 0.6 of an acre and are very rare. Consistent would mean that there would be a majority or even large majority of lots similar to what is being proposed. The factual numbers of 63 homes in a 2-mile radius of the proposed development and within the comprehensive shoreline development area, so excluding homes east of the canal, which are mostly 5 to 20 acre lots, there are only 22 lots, 5 of which are half acre with no house on them, with less than 1 acre, and none of them less than 0.47 of an acre. So 22 of 63, or 35% of the lots, only 27% of the houses are less than 1 acre, and some of these are 0.75 acres. All of these lots are less than 1 acres, are immediately along the river and with the river view. None of the lots in the proposed development will have a river view, and none of them are along the river. They are 1.5 miles from the existing 1.5 acre lots along the river. 13 lots in the Sunray Estate, or the Sunray Estates. Smallest is 2.2 acres, average lot size 2.5. One of the lots is 5 acres. 1 existing home on the proposed development site, and it is over 1 acre minimum. Larkspur Road, 10 lots of 5 acres. 1 lot broken off of these lots is 1 acre. Along West Sagemore, 2 homes with a minimum 1.24 one of these was included by the applicant in the Sunray Estates, but it does not belong to the development, and the way it's presented diminishes the facts of all lots in the Sunray Estates are 2.2 plus acres. River Ridge Estates, 36 lots. There's one lot of .47 acres. All the other lots are half acre, with 22 of 36 lots being half acre and 1 acre, and 14 lots are 1 acre or more. All of these lots are riverfront and have river views. All the lots to the south, proposed developments are 5 acres or more in size. Adding 94 homes on half acre lots would shift the area from 65% of the lots on lot sizes over 1 acre, most more than 2 acres, to 74% of the lots of half acre. That is a complete change of the environment inconsistent with point 1 of the requirements of it for a PUD. In addition, the 94 half acre lots are very inconsistent with anything in 7 Mile area between the proposed development and the city of Pasco. Here is the math. Currently 17 homes of half acre lots, 22 lots of half acre, and 41 of 63 lots over 1 acre, shifting to 116 of 157 lots of 1/2 acre. That is a huge flip and against the Growth Management Act. Addressing point 3, the proposed development is not consistent with the comprehensive plan and the Growth Management Act. Approving the development proposal of the PUD would set a danger precedent and overrule all zoning designations. There is no developments, 94 homes on half acre lots located 8 miles from the city boundaries in all of Franklin County, Grant County, and Adams County. There are no developments of this size and nature anywhere within 3 miles of any town in these counties. The PUD project proposal is not consistent with any comprehensive plan. Approving it as it is would set a dangerous precedent. There are currently developers and homeowners in the Birch Road area who are watching what happens with this proposal, because if it passes, they will have grounds to develop their existing lots and undeveloped land into higher density. The Growth Management Act applies even in the comprehensive growth plan area like the shoreline development area. It restricts urban sprawl, which would include making the dominant influence of undersized building lots. It is also prohibits leapfrogging by building large developments far out and skipping over large areas of land, as would be happening in this proposal. This proposal is at the northernmost border of the comprehensive plan, growth plan, shoreline development area, and is out of place. This proposed project, which is, if passed, would need to be addressed by the Superior Court, as the code is piecemeal and comes in conflict with the Growth Management Act, as well as the current zoning, and could set a dangerous precedent. Addressing point 4, safety. The proposed development is bordered on 2 sides by canals to the east and south, and there is only one exit from this proposed development to go down the hill, where there are 2 exits out onto Columbia River Road. However, no one is going to drive to the northern exit, but all will use the shortest route, which is immediately adjacent to the bridge over the Squassel Canal, a very dangerous pinch point. The width of the bridge is not consistent with the width of the road for this size development. The roads are not even the width that the city says they are. Previously, there were no fog lines painted on the road because it wasn't wide enough. Last year, the county chip sealed the road and literally sprayed tar on the gravel shoulder and then painted fog lines. Some of these fog lines are on unpaved gravel areas and have been chip sealed. There is no shoulder in most of the areas through the county says there is a 3-foot shoulder. Go and measure all along the area. This is a finding of fact. The road is insufficient for the current use and not appropriate or safe for increasing traffic with the development of 94 homes, even if done in 4 phases. Traffic. Increasing traffic along Columbia River Road by 94 homes would be dangerous to existing residents and wildlife. Roads, infrastructure are inadequate and need to be improved for existing traffic. Lighting. Putting 94 homes in a half-acre lots with no proposed lighting is a danger that would increase crime and other problems. This avoidance of adding curbs, gutter, sidewalk, and lighting is at a cost savings attempt on the part of the developer. It is also trying to avoid light pollution because development with lighting for this many homes and streetlights would create light pollution and sound nuisance for the rural area. Nothing like this anywhere in the rural Franklin County. Crime and fire. We currently have inadequate fire protection, and building 94 homes on half-acre lots would drastically increase the danger. It would also draw more crime into the rural area of the county that is currently underserved by police. A much more reasonable increase of 40 to 50 homes on 1-acre lots would be substantially different and would be less of an impact. Water. Although the project proposal can be presented without having specifics for providing water, a SEPA cannot be approved without specifics about how water will be provided, and in this case, a SEPA was approved. The supplied 90 pages of water proposal, apparently 360 additional pages not provided by the county in advance of the hearing, are nowhere specific about what will be done with water supply. Where will the wells be drilled for the community well or the Group A water system? There is insufficient detail, and it should never be approved as a SEPA. In addition, there are no easements or right-of-ways for water lines to pipe the water from Underwood development to this proposed Cherrywood development. It is unfeasible and impractical. There is insufficient information. The developer and Randy Mullen are attempting to drown the Planning Commission and County Commissioners in 90 pages of paperwork that is wordy, filled with errors, and never actually explains the plan. I doubt that all the Planning Commission and County Commissioners will read it, let alone understand it. I had a friend who was an engineer and worked with another county planning department read it thoroughly twice and finds that it is incomplete, inaccurate, and should never have been approved for a SEPA. Even if the water rights, it says, are being transferred as noted in Grant County and are actually in Franklin County. The review process was faulty or non-existent, and SEPA and the project should never have been approved with a DNS. In addition, the county was negligent in providing the 360 additional pages, which presents the appearance of unfairness by withholding important information for those opposing the presentation. I'm almost done. I received one more from Ryan Witten and Natasha Mendonca. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. We're writing to provide comments on the Cherrywood Plan Estates, references subdivision 24-03. While we are not opposed to the residential development in this area, we are deeply concerned with the proposed density infrastructure plan, are incompatible with the surrounding community, and do not adequately address critical public safety concerns. 1, inaccurate representation of surrounding development. This application narrative claims the proposed development is compatible with nearby neighborhoods, citing Sunray's comparable subdivision with lot sizes as small as 1.24. This is incorrect. The smallest lot size is 2.2 acres, and most lots are larger. Claiming compatibility based on inaccurate data undermines the credibility of the application and misleads both officials and the public. A development with 94 homes on 79 acres is not like development when compared to Sunray, Columbia Bluff, or Rivercrest Estates. In addition, within a 2-mile radius of the proposed development site, there are 22 lots that are half-acre in size. However, 5 of these lots are currently vacant. This means that only 17 existing homes are on half-acre lots, and all of them are located immediately along the Columbia River, taking advantage of waterfront views. If this development proceeds as proposed, it would shift the area's housing mix from 41 out of 63 lots being 1 acre or larger to 116 out of 157 lots, 74% being half acre. This represents a significant and abrupt departure from the existing lot size character in the area. Traffic and road safety concerns. The SEPA determination of non-significance notes that the proposal will generate approximately 895 additional daily vehicle trips. Columbia River Road and the surrounding rural road are not currently equipped to absorb this level of traffic safety. There is limited infrastructure for pedestrians, bicycles, or school-related transit. The increased traffic will compromise the safety of current residents, especially children walking to school bus stops, create dangerous intersections or bottlenecks due to the lack of turning lanes or shoulders, increase accident risk along narrow rural roadways not designed for high-density access. A formal traffic impact analysis and mitigation plan should be required before this project proceeds. 3, emergency services and response time. Adding 94 new homes to this area will significantly impact the overwhelm the fire, EMS, and law enforcement services, especially given the distance from a fully staffed service to the development. The application narrative only mentions the addition of fire hydrants, but it does not provide any coordination with or capacity analysis from the local emergency service providers. An assessment of access routes and potential delays due to increased congestion. Clear plans for adequate road widths, emergency vehicle turnarounds, or wildfire response preparedness. Without a formal public safety impact review, it is premature to claim that this project serves public health, safety, and welfare. 4, density bonus request is unwarranted. The applicant is requesting a 20% density bonus, citing open space amenities like dog parks and trails. While these may enhance resident enjoyment, they do not justify squeezing more lots into a rural area. The surrounding subdivisions were not granted such bonuses, and there is no precedent for this kind of density in rural RC1 zone. Increasing the number of homes without corresponding investment in infrastructure and services undermines the rural character and livability of the area. 5, inadequate mitigation for environmental and infrastructure impacts. There are no pledged impact mitigation arguments. There are no pledged impact mitigation agreements, despite clear pressure on utility, school capacity, and solid waste systems. Septic systems are proposed for every home, which raises concerns about cumulative environmental impacts on groundwater over time. There is no street lighting, which poses potential safety issues for pedestrians and vehicles in the absence of sidewalks and other traffic calming measures. Conclusion, this project as proposed is inconsistent with the scale and character of the surrounding community and raises unresolved safety and infrastructure concerns. We respectfully request that the Planning Commission and County Commissioners withhold approval of plan unit development until a full traffic impact analysis is complete. Emergency response capacity is reviewed by the appropriate fire and EMS agencies. The application is amended to reflect actual surrounding lot sizes and true compatibility, and a more moderate development layout in line with existing neighborhoods is presented. Thank you for the opportunity to present these. That completes all the comments that came in between the staff report going out and being posted and what we received as of today.
Thank you. Wow. Peter, you're up.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Peter Harpster, Harpster Land Development. Address is 5804 Road 90, Suite C here in Pasco. Here this evening representing the project owners, Jim Kelly of Pomona Properties and Rachi. To start off with, just in response to some of those comments, if I was a homeowner with no experience in development, I would certainly be concerned as well. The good news, as you've all seen in your packet, is that this application has been reviewed by staff, HBL, as well as several other agencies, local and across the state, that either had no issues with the project, or if they did, they provided comments and asked for conditions approval, for conditions of approval, excuse me. The conditions of approval that were presented this evening, we have no issues with, and also have no issue with any of the agency comments that were submitted. Before you this evening is a residential plat, like several others that have come before you. This is now the third PUD in Franklin County. And as noted by staff an hour ago, it is the area is contained within the Rural Shoreline Development Landward, a site, really the only site in the entire county that is suitable for a planned unit development. Speaking of the comprehensive plan that designates the site as such, Franklin County's comprehensive plan, as adopted by our county commissioners and approved by the State Department of Commerce, requires the county to build 2,305 housing units by the year, I believe it was 2030, 2038. We are falling woefully short of that goal, and then we're at approximately 230 housing units since that plan was passed in 2018. And projects like this help to implement those goals as required by the state, and again, as I mentioned, approved by the county commissioners. You saw that map earlier that shows that in the entire county, it didn't show the entire county, but for the majority that it did show, there's one section where development like this can occur to help meet those housing goals. So it's imperative that the appointed members of this planning commission, the elected representatives in the county commissioners, approve projects like this to help provide housing at a time where housing is desperately needed. As stated by HBL planning staff, in the Franklin County Code, there are simply 4 requirements for approving a planned unit development. We believe that our application meets every single one of those requirements, and staff concurs with that as shown in their staff report. I won't belabor them, but you've read the staff report and you've seen that we meet all 4 of those. As far as compatibility, you heard some concern, you'll probably hear more concern that this site is not compatible. The size of lots and the other subdivisions or short plats that have been created in the past are not what we're looking at with compatibility. We're looking at, is there residential uses going in next to residential uses? If not, what kind of buffering is there? You've seen on the map that the area that was shown is for rural shoreline development. Next door to it is for ag. That's why we're proposing open space along the outside of the development. There's also a skidded canal that separates those land uses. Again, this site is designated for residential use. So working with our real estate broker, one thing that we noted, they couldn't be here this evening, but once homes are built on these sites, the average sale price will be just over $1 million. There'll be some likely that are in lower 900s, and then some that are over 1.1, 1.2 million. Good point of reference is any number of the other developments that this board has approved over the last few years. Spencer Estates Phase 4 is not a PUD, but is a half-acre subdivision in the county. And those lots, the cheapest one that I've seen was just over 900,000. Again, this neighborhood, one of the requirements of a planned unit development is to have an HOA to maintain the neighborhood and the aesthetics of it. The Richview water system, as mentioned, has been approved by Ecology and the Department of Health. Franklin County did a couple years ago approve the original service area map. It was since amended to include this property and the circle south of this, which is also suitable for residential development. That revision is what's been approved by Department of Health and Ecology. As Mr. McCart stated, it's not yet been approved by Franklin County. And so to that additional condition of approval, we have no issue, and we'll work to get that submitted to staff. One just point of clarification that we noticed was on some of the documents in the staff report refer to this project as sub 2025-02, and then another place is sub 2025-01. So we just want to make sure that on our end we get it right for future meetings with the commissioners. Another concern that was brought up was traffic, and this area is subject to Columbia River Road mitigation fee that was referenced. That's $500 per unit. As mentioned by staff, Public Works has reviewed this application and deemed that the roads will operate at an acceptable level of service. That was that LOS that was mentioned. Just want to thank everybody here for their extended time here this evening. And we ask that you vote in favor of this project in accordance with your recommendation from staff who are experienced land use planners and can speak to concerns that were read tonight, like they did when they read through the staff report. That's all from me. You'll hear from Mr. Mark Fickus, our client's land use attorney, who will kind of help fill in the blanks, if you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, what's going on here?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mark Fickus.
Yep, I know you. Can we do 2 presentations from the owner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not 2 presentations, it's the same presentation. And trust me,
Gotcha.
will be a lot shorter than the public comments read into the record. My name again is Mark Fickus. I'm a shareholder at the Halverson Northwest Law Firm in Yakima, and I'm an experienced land use attorney. I thank the opportunity to be able to make another presentation to this board again. This is the 3rd PUD in the county, both of which you've approved. This one's not that unusual, other than, as your outside planners have indicated, this one's at the northernmost part of the limited area of more intense residential development that your county commissioners have already approved. It's compatible. It's made for residential use. It's not made to be a farm anymore. I know some people would probably appreciate looking over a cherry farm for years, but this property is going to develop, and it legally has to develop. There's 3 things driving development recently. The 3 things driving the development and the density are the Lambert itself, your PUD ordinance that has been amended to include a slightly lower open space requirement that provides flexibility to reduce the minimum lot size from 1 acre. Our client's application is not doing anything illegal or inappropriate. It's allowed under your ordinance that the commissioners have approved. And then the third thing that's happening, the reason you're seeing a significant increase in the development, is the development of the Richview water system, which is almost complete. And legally, I want to just summarize a few things. Again, the water rights to allow the owner of the Richview water system provide water has been approved by the Department of Ecology. They're the only ones with jurisdiction. The county doesn't have any jurisdiction to approve where water is getting used. That has been approved. It's non-appealable. It actually includes the property within the application tonight. So the place where you can use water. The second one is the Department of Health has approved it to safely operate. It is final approval, hasn't been appealed. That's part of the packet. And the third thing, as Mr. McCart accurately pointed out, is the potential to get a CUP for the water system. Now, full disclosure, the conditional use permit that the county will issue has nothing to do with the residential PUD before you today. It simply looks at where the water system is located on Richview's property and to make sure that the infrastructure doesn't impact the uses around there. It doesn't, and there's a question of whether it's needed, but out of abundance of caution, a CUP certainly could be appropriate. So all the legal approvals for the water system have happened, and that's what's generating the ability to do a slightly more dense development. Again, I'm not going to go over the general approval criteria. As you can see, staff, applicants, and the members of the public can have difference of opinion on what's compatible. But as a land use attorney that's been doing this for 38 years, compatibility is based on the type of the use, not the intensity of the use or the size of the lots in general. In fact, it's coming, I wish Mr. Briggs, Jeff Briggs, your county attorney, was here tonight. There's some recent laws that normally I don't like to cite laws coming from Olympia, because over here in Eastern Washington, where I'm from and you're from, they're telling us what to do. But there is some laws that one's becoming effective in July 27th, some new middle housing regulations that are requiring cities to allow much more dense development, and they can't even have an R1 zoning anymore that limits the acreage. They have to allow flexible housing like duplexes, triplexes, multifamily. That's mandated in cities. It's encouraged in counties. And if you want a citation to that, it's in Gross Senate House Bill 5471. It's effective July 27th. And again, you're going to see that the flexibility allowed in your PUD ordinance, a slightly more dense development, is the wave of the future, at least based upon the state. And I've heard some comments on the Growth Management Act. This is being implemented through changes in the Growth Management Act. So again, another that Mr. Harpster said, this encourages your county meeting the housing goals. This is consistent with the new flexibility and affordable housing coming from the west side, and this should be approved. Just a few comments legally. I'm not going to go into, I don't know the area as well as the people here in this room or as the members of the public here today, but a few legal. I hear a lot of comments on SEPA, and there's been some confusion. You might, if you've reviewed the record, in fact, there was an initial appeal. Somebody tried to file a SEPA appeal, and the county determined that that wasn't appropriate, and that's rightfully so. I do not believe this body has the ability to rescind or recommend rescinding a DNS. Any appeal would have to occur at the commissioner level or in the courts at a later stage. And again, I appreciate everybody trying to be an attorney, but that's a fact. Traffic, you know, I'm not going to repeat all the traffic. I'm not going to repeat all the traffic issues other than your Public Works Department has approved this. Every development has to be what's called concurrent, meaning the roads have to be adequate at the time, not at the time of approval, but they have to be in place at the time they'll be finalized. And your Public Works Department has confirmed they're operating at level of service C, which is allowed, and you already collect a traffic mitigation fee, which means you couldn't impose any SEPA-based conditions anyways. The $500 per lot is what the county allows to mitigate any impacts on Columbia River roads. There's simply no basis for any traffic mitigation on this project. Basically, you know, that's it. I think your staff has done an admirable job. They properly applied both the subdivision and PUD ordinance, and we would recommend, would like to see this board recommend approval consistent with the staff report with the 9 conditions of approval that have been recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we are gonna have public testimony. I'm gonna call them up. I can't read all these names. What's that? Okay. And we're gonna keep this to 5 minutes and under, hopefully well under.
I'll try and keep this short. Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, Mr. McCart, HBL. My name is Ryan Nelson. I was a planner here in Franklin County. I did work on this project initially when it first came in 2024. Staff did send this out for a SEPA consult in 2024. And what that does is it allows ecology and other agencies to review the SEPA checklist without the staff issuing a determination. So it allows for a longer review time, and because we had a transition in staff that allowed this application to come before you now rather than during the holidays when it was supposed to. So to the public, you're welcome on that. That way you actually had time to actually look at this. I'm actually here on a semi-professional level. One in that regard. Two, I had a conversation with planning staff, with current planning staff about adding to the note of face of the plat about adding in Bend County and Franklin County Emergency Management, there is a 10-mile Hanford Planning Emergency Zone. And this site is approximately, I'm not sure exactly mileage, but it is west of the 300 area of Hanford. So if something were to happen at Hanford, these residents, if approved, should be notified through an alarm system. Now, the nearest alarm system is on Alder Road. But I still believe that notifications that they are within the Hanford Emergency Planning area should be somewhere either on the either as condition, on the face of plat, something. And I know you recommended that should be through the real estate agents and all that. Another thing, now this pertains more to the application itself. When we reviewed this, I completely disagreed with the area of open space being proposed, since it is open area number 2, I believe it is, Nicole? Open area number 2, is that towards the canal? Yes. Yeah. So,
Are you talking about tract?
yeah,
I'm not
oh,
looking. You can pull it up, though. I don't have it memorized.
okay. While she's pulling that up, I will also state that my family has property to the west of this development, which is also why I'm here. So that's where the personal level comes in, because as a member of my family will state that there's going to be access that's going to be needed to those areas, to like Sierra Gold, Lammerd. So the open space number 2, as you see, goes right along the canal. And it goes, and then the access road to the south is is parallel to the Esquassel Drainage Canal, which, as we all know, is a very fast-moving water source. As far as the canal to the west, I don't know how big or how wide that is or how fast-moving, but as far as I'm concerned, that is a huge, huge safety concern for any kids. And it should be redone. And I know that myself and other members of staff, previous staff, discussed moving the open space to the front of lots 1 through 11 to provide more for a viewpoint. And then I think the only other thing that I have to say about this is, you as a planning commission, in the code, you have the power to approve with conditions, deny, or you can continue this application to a later date to address any concerns that the public may have or anything like that. I suggest that this application be continued to a later date until such time that any mitigations that the public proposes is conducted, and that's all I really have. But I'm glad that Peter got the Richview Water System to approve to serve this, because that was not in the original CUP when it was approved. So that will need to be an amended CUP.
5 minutes, Mike.
Yeah, we're time.
I kind of figured, but thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next would be Natasha.
My name is Natasha Mendonca, and my address is 401 Geisler Road. I'm going to condense my verbal comments. I was told that we had a date to submit our written comments, and I submitted them by the date, and they were not in the packet, so I'm unsure what happened there. So I'll condense them since a lot of this was talked about. So the proposal fails to demonstrate how it safely supports emergency response, traffic, and infrastructure. Today, Columbia River Road currently average 670 vehicles per day. This project alone adds 900 more daily trips, which is a staggering 134% increase. In the May 2025 commission meeting, Commissioner Didier said at timestamp 4042, our roads are failing out there. And at timestamp 4212, we need safe roadways and we need to start investing in our roadways out in Franklin County. This development would more than double traffic on already failing roads. Approving this without addressing traffic is not irresponsible, it's also unsafe. In comments to the SEPA determination, this was covered quite a bit, so I'm going to leave some of this out. But there was 360 pages of technical documents that were submitted after the public review period, so we weren't able to review all of those before we were able to provide comments. And in regards to the SEPA appeal, although the staff is great and has provided a lot of guidance, we submitted the appeal based on the process provided by the staff and what we were given was that it was reversed after developer legal pressure. The SEPA process lacks transparency and completeness. There are too many red flags suggesting bias and lack of fairness. This proposal is not consistent with establishing land use patterns in the area, does not conform to the planning framework set forth in the Franklin County Comprehensive Plan, and lacks a comprehensive analysis of traffic impacts and public safety. We respectfully ask you to deny the proposal as submitted, require at least 1 acre lot sizes, and demand a full, honest infrastructure and safety review. Thank you all for your time and considering the concerns of local residents directly impacted by this proposal.
Thank you.
I apologize, we were planning to speak tonight, but meltdown, so.
Your name?
I'm Rachel Kennedy. Apologize. I'm Rachel Kennedy. I live at 351 Geisler. My husband and I were in attendance tonight. I had a whole thing written up for you guys, but after listening tonight, what I'd really like to get across to everybody, or I hope you guys heard, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but having a number of PUDs already approved, does that really explain to this how this is impacting us? Just because they've been approved in the past doesn't mean this is a good plan. Housing goals. Does that mean there's a lack of due diligence or public accountability in these SEPA reports? We didn't get them. There are somewhere in the ballpark of 300 documents we did not fairly get to review prior to this hearing. If things are above board, why? Some people in EMS that I've spoken to, we do not have a fire department that is out there that is close enough to handle fire calls. We're adding in 94 households. How is that going to impact 94 new houses out there? That's not even talking about emergencies, not talking about fire, police. If these legal water approvals, if you guys are looking at that, that's going to improve, that's, we're talking about a density, increase of over 50% right now, what we're seeing right now. I think that these studies need to be done in a more comprehensive fashion. I think I ask that you guys ask for transparency so we can review it. We can speak together and find something that knits what the community is saying, what our needs are, versus what this development wants. So, thank you guys. And the other thing I wanted to note was I know that they were talking about, our lawyer was talking about zoning laws that are changing in January of 2026. Well, we're not in January of 2026 yet, and I don't think we're the west side here. Our needs are not the needs that are on the other side of our state. So I ask that you take that in consideration. Thank you.
Is your husband going to speak?
If he does, he'll be in. We're going to switch out, so.
Okay, now we're going to go back to Mark E. No. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. I can't read this one. Yesalma or Yesi? Okay. Oh, are you for this? No. Okay, sorry. Okay, next is Robert Suits.
How you guys doing? I'm Robert Suits, sorry. At 220 Geisler Road. And I live out there since 2012. My wife and I, we built on one of Old Man Geisler's plots out there, one of his pieces of land. And it's a really special place. And I know that because I used to live at La Vista Farm in a housing development. And people that are packed together in that kind of a development, they can't breathe. There's not enough land for them to breathe. You need to give these people at least an acre. At least an acre. Let them have a septic system and then a backup drain field. Let them have some space that they can stretch their mind and their spirit, and let them really love the land. This is not enough for them. It's too packed up We are at the very end, the skirt of the development. So let this be a special, inn where the lots are, larger size. They're maybe even larger than an acre. We own 2.21. And it's a wonderful, beautiful, just the right size piece for us. But maybe 1 acre is fine for some others. But these small little lots out here in this beautiful country setting, it's inappropriate. These rock walls that are binding these people in and shoving them down onto this little piece it's not appropriate for us out there. We got a security system, and it's really neat, all of the beautiful animals that we get to see out here. We've got turkey out on our property, wild turkey. And we've got all sorts of coyote, and there's fox, and there's skunk, and there's all sorts of wildlife that run through this area here. Interestingly enough, we've also got moose. We've had moose that have come into the Esquazzle and into this back irrigation ditch, and deer get into the irrigation ditch and have to be rescued out sometimes. But it is a special rural area. Please don't put this development out there. The people that are advocating for it, they don't live out there. If they did, they would not be advocating for this development at all. They would be wanting to keep it beautiful and rural and give these people some land so that they can, again, so they can breathe. This is not any different than La Vista Farm down there, on the other side of Road 100. But Sunray Estates and all those other little developments up there, they are special and they are different and unique. I do want to touch on a couple other things. Open Space 1, it's kind of an interesting place where Open Space 1 is. It happens to be right next door to Mr. Kelly's friend, which is interesting, who also has about 5 acres of cherries. But I talked to Mr. Orozco, and yeah, that's an interesting place for Open Space 1. Open Space 2 and Open Space 3, it already has an irrigation easement. It's not going to be able to be developed on anyway. And you really don't want your kids back there playing on those irrigation ditches. So to call it open space and that we're meeting this 15% is a little disingenuous. They wouldn't be able to use that land anyway. I really appreciate your time, and I really hope that you guys don't approve this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cynthia?
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Muse. I live at 260 Ridgeview Drive in River Ridge Estates out, and have been a Basin original for 65 years. Ridgeview Estates, may I speak to that, since we've lived there for this 30 years, was George and Bernie Sanderson's dream of an old grazing farm. No, it was a farm unit that was left out of the irrigation district, and they got together with some Hanford scientists and technical people and wanted to develop a housing unit. And because of the tiered steep nature of the back side of their farm unit, they created the half-acre lots. This was in the late 60s, and that was developed, and they put the first graded road in 1975. So I don't know where that was not part of any kind of coding, or I don't understand the zoning laws or anything of what's happened more currently. But if you're basing half-acre lots on that particular development, you are not basing it right. I'm sorry, and I'm against what you're doing, because that was a whole different era with a whole different reason for it to be developed. As far as the Ridgeview water system, if you drive by there and look at the surrounding areas that are possible for development, then you know that water system is going to be used for housing developments of maybe less dense than this one. And we're talking, 5 miles or more to transport that water from that development up to yours? It just doesn't sound right to me. There's something wrong with this. This density is taken away from the character of Franklin County. Now, Now, for another thing, I'm worried about Birch Road. Yes, I own 160 acres at the corner of Birch and Taylor Flats. It is one of the most beautiful units in Block 16. You can see all the way to the bend in the river. I can't even think right now. It's beautiful on a clear day. And I have a 150-year dynasty, and I will never, ever be greedy enough to subdivide that land, ever. And my grandchildren and their grandchildren know that. And Corey Brock and his law firm are reassuring me that we certainly can keep that we're not going to be predatory to farmland. We're going to keep it in nice, open, beautiful space so that any of you ever driving up and down Taylor Flats Road can look out and enjoy that wide, open, beautiful space and know that it will never be. I could be a multimillionaire over and over if I would allow people like this to develop my land, but it won't happen, as I rule from the grave. So that is, my concern is, what are we confusing with the word rural? Where are we drawing the lines, north, south, east, and west, on where these developments can happen? I don't care if it's 1, 2, 3 ABC or PUD. These don't need to be this far out. They need to be within the urban growth boundaries and within urban areas. We need to stop this kind of development now in beautiful rural settings, in federal projects that were designed for ag production, ag commercial, ag industrial. They were not designed for get-rich housing schemes. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So this statement is a general statement to everybody in the room. When you're testifying, please be respectful of everybody in the room. There's no reason to make faces to the proponents or the opponents of this application. We need to treat everybody with respect. Thank you.
Okay, I think this is Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Nelson. I have property to the west of the proposed development, and I submitted a slide. Who's running the PowerPoint? I have handouts too. Okay, so I'm coming to you with an itty-bitty, teeny-weeny problem in the midst of all of this chaos. So forgive me for dealing with such a tiny little issue. My property is over here off of Camas Road. And we have easement issues. The red easement on the far right is it's 10 feet, and then it goes to 20 feet, then it goes to 30 feet. It cannot be widened to 30 feet, making it impossible for us to build back on those properties. The easement in the middle, the red line easement in the middle, that is a true easement as far as I understand, but there's a cliff there that makes developing a road very, very expensive, very, very treacherous, very difficult. And then our third access is the Esquatzel Canal Road across the bottom of your map, that red line. And that, as I understand it, can never be a legal access. So my request to you, both to the developer and to you as a planning commission, is could we punch one of these roads through to give access to all of these properties that are currently landlocked or virtually landlocked? So the first option is to go right there between lots 19 and 20, or at the top end of lot 19, and just punch a road through. It would go across the Esquatzel, not the Esquatzel. It would have to go across the canal, and that I've not sought permission for that or anything. I just want to ask if we can even do this as a starting point. The other option would be to punch through between lots 42 and 82. Or, conversely, we could have the county, ask the county to put a road across the top of the development, or across the bottom of the development. Those would be those magenta lines. So anyway, in doing so, in creating some sort of access coming in off of Columbia River Road, it would help out 9 property owners who are currently virtually landlocked. Thank you.
Are we able to ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Sarah, I wasn't clear on this. Are you for this development or against this development?
That's a great question. I am not happy with it being half-acre lots. I would prefer it be 1-acre lots. I'll leave it at that.
But you're proposing some sort of easement roads or transitional roadways through the landlocked
Yes.
area?
Yes, because that would allow us to come in through here and get to these properties.
So you're trying to find a solution, is that what I'm getting?
I am trying to find a solution, and the more development that goes on, the less likely a solution, well, I shouldn't say less likely, but the more property owners get involved and the more easements have to be acquired, it would just be great to handle it now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ed?
Yeah, I don't really know where to start. I'm a little offended by some of the comments that were made earlier, like the lack of intelligence or knowledge of the citizens here. That kind of bothered me a little bit because I happen to have more experience than these gentlemen do at that, since I am a retired county administrator, county engineer that has reviewed, I don't know how many subdivisions, land development processes. I made those comments on your SEPA checklist based on facts. And there's no other way to say it, but you just can't make the developments and some later date, as was mentioned by your attorney, that you can then do the SEPA. That doesn't work. That's illegal. So I don't know what your attorney or their attorney has been proposing, but that's wrong. It's illegal. And as far as rural, definition's been mentioned a couple times. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at your comp plan. It's been approved by you, but rural is defined pretty clearly. Historically, I'm not going to go into the complete definition there. Historically, it's, et cetera, rural lands in those areas outside of the UGA and which are not classified as designated rural areas allow low to moderate densities that can be supported and sustained, et cetera. Rural areas are traditionally used for hobby farms, tree nurseries, greenhousing, agricultural crops, livestock, mineral extraction, processing, low-density residential development. Those are, quote, out of your comp plan. It goes on to say, in the RCW, you look at their development, essentially the same. Development densities that support and maintain rural area characteristics. Half-acre lots out in that area, that's not rural. That's not a rural characteristic. You talk about the limited area of more intense rural development. Yeah, that is part of it. That's good and bad. Actually, it's also shoreline management. I found a little humor in this whole thing. It reminds me of a song. We've got oceanfront property in Arizona. I mean, it's not shoreline. I mean, this is 200 feet above the river and a quarter mile away from it. It should never have been classified as shoreline management. But let's look at the limited area, more intense rural development. Those were supposed to be created, look at your comp plan, those were supposed to be created for special areas where there has been some development. And you set boundaries around that. And those have been set. It's called around a built environment. Now, page 42 of your comp plan. The lots will infill at a maximum residential density of 1 dwelling unit per acre. You can't get any more clear than that. So, I don't know. You talk about the road road ratings. Yeah, they built that up. Yeah, it meets all of its county requirements for county road. Well, nowhere has it been mentioned of what the impact is of an intersection with 1,000 vehicles coming in where the traffic is only 670, I believe. Actually, I think it's 800, I had the numbers here, 870 or something like that, that it creates. That's in addition to what's on the subdivision that's already approved up there, which will put the vehicles of over 1,000 vehicles per day entering onto that road, where you have a restricted sight distance with the brush that grows around the Esquatzel, with the guardrail that's on the Esquatzel. The bridge is restricted in weight. I don't know if I could find a worse place to put an intersection like that. That's more than double the traffic that's on the road. It's just wrong. Now, the information that was used to develop the Declaration of Non-Significance, the DNS, that was based on certain criteria, certain information that you received, that the planning department received. What was that information? When I requested a copy of everything, I was sent an email message with the attachments.
We have to wrap it up as soon
Okay.
as possible.
Well, it's a little tough to respond to 500 pages
I
in
know,
5
but
minutes.
We've got some ground rules.
Yeah, I don't care about the ground rules as much as I do the representation of what the facts are, and that's been slanted. I am going to turn in my comments, and you need to look at that to see the impact of what the planning, contracting people have and what their business is. You're going to see that their primary business is to help people through the maze of this to construct a project. That answers why all of those answers on the SEPA checklist are slanted towards this is good, this meets compatibility, this matches everything that's out there. We're using this half-acre lots to transition from 1 acre lots to 5 acre and lots. Well, half-acre lots do not transition between 1 acre and 5 acres. It's all slanted. It's simply wrong. It is not a rural area, and you should not be proving anything or recommending approval of anything until you do a DNS legally and approved on accurate information and complete information, not slanted, not no answer.
We have to keep this the same for everybody. We got to roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna close, but this is not anything that should be approved here. Clearly, there are legal representations for that, legal reasons.
Nathan? Is Nathan here? You don't want to speak? Okay. So that's everybody that was signed up. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay. Do we have any email public testimony?
No, sir.
Does staff
No,
have
sir.
any final comments?
I have a few comments to provide. First, I wanted to clarify that there was no SEPA notice of consultation done on this project. I think Mr. Nelson was confusing it with another project where we did do a SEPA notice of consultation, so I just wanted to clarify that there was just the determination of non-significance issued and a comment period was provided for that process. I wanted to also make a note about compatibility. Compatibility, if you look at the comprehensive plan, doesn't call for things to match. It's about whether or not it is, going to have these external impacts or effects that are, not something that would be typical. And so I think the point about residential next to residential typically being considered compatible, I think that makes a lot of sense. There were notes about public works standards, folks calling for things like streetlights, the road widths and type need to be different. People have made some comments about septic systems. We're not able to really look into all of those things in depth for each development. Instead, we have a standard and a policy that applies countywide, and those are the measures and the standards that we look at and that the developers are expected to build to. So I just wanted to be clear on that, that it would be outside the purview of the Planning Commission to consider that or even to try to condition that. That's really all I had. I mean, I think that all of our analysis has been presented. I just wanted to put the suggested comments of conditions of approval back up on the screen, if I may, together with our recommended motion. One moment here. And again, I'm just trying to be brief because I know the hearing has gone for a while. So just looking at these proposed conditions of approval, this is just a summary version on the slides. But the first several conditions have to do with complying with the requirements of the different agencies and departments that have reviewed this proposal. Next, we have a standard condition number 4, which is proposed about recording covenants on the plat. Number 5 is also typical. It has to do with using addresses and road names that would be approved. The 6th one has to do with post office requirements for mail service. Number 7 is also typical. Preliminary plat approval is valid for a period of 5 years following any approval by the Board of County Commissioners. This project may be a phased development and also prior to obtaining the county treasurer's signature. These are all just the typical conditions of approval. Why is this? It's because the conditions of the county, the development conditions, and all of the codes that are in place in Title 16, which you have reviewed recently and updated recently, are going to apply as this development moves forward. So what I'm trying to say is there's a benchmark, there's a standard for a lot of these things. You've been given a lot of information and opinions tonight, but we need to truly look at what the requirements are and the legal opportunities that the property owners have to use their property rights. And then finally, I just wanted to remind you that we have added number 10. I wanted to draw that to your attention again because it wasn't in the written staff report. And the final approval would be contingent on CUP being changed. That's an item that would go back before Planning Commission with a public hearing. So this is not something that we would gloss over by any means. And therefore, that brings us to the suggested motion. I'll just read it very quickly. I move that the Franklin County Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to approve with conditions the application with the suggested findings, facts, and conditions of approval as detailed in the staff report and modified following the hearing. So that gives you the opportunity to say, hey, yeah, we need to add in that number 10. Did you have anything else?
No, I don't. Thanks.
Okay. And so I just want to thank you for your time and your careful consideration of this. We know that this is an area that a lot of folks really love, and so we know there's a lot for you to consider, but we thank you for the opportunity to present this and to bring these facts before you and to remind you once again about what the criteria are, and that's really what we focus in as staff, is looking at what the criteria is so that we can make sure that we are preserving folks' development rights and their rights to this public process. That being said, I'm also really appreciative of the public comments because it gave us an opportunity to kind of pivot before this meeting, make those corrections where we needed to, and I just love hearing people talk about their concern for their neighborhoods and so forth. So we're just really appreciative of everybody that's participated tonight. Thanks.
I will entertain a motion to close public comment.
Move to close public comment.
I will second.
It's been moved by Commissioner DeRue and seconded by Commissioner Gutierrez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public testimony portion of public hearing PUD 2025-1 is closed. Is there any discussion from the planning commission members?
I have a couple questions. If these are half-acre lots, that's 21,780 square feet. And these are all septic systems, correct? I just recently went through a permit process where it's going to take four-bedroom house, and I understand soil types will change all this, but it required about 8,000 square feet of space for the drain field. And I have to have a secondary location. So here, all of a sudden, potentially, there's 16,000 square feet of this lot that can't have anything else built on it. You can have potentially a lawn going across it, I suppose, but no structures. At some point, I'm just wondering if this lot size is so condensed that it's almost not possible to make half-acre lots work with septic systems with the current requirements. That's my first question.
Do
And-
you mind, Chairman, may I respond to that?
No.
You may wait? Okay, thank you.
So who is going to answer my questions? Nobody?
Well, technically, you've closed that. Staff can answer the question if it's in the record. We cannot provide additional
It
information.
is in the record, if I may. So I just would clarify that the Benton Franklin Health District has reviewed the proposal. They did change their requirements in the last year or so, is what I've been told. I have not gone back and read their requirements. So I believe that they have looked at it according to what their board has approved, and they have said that they don't have any concerns. The other item that I would highlight is that site conditions can vary dramatically in terms of what amount of land you need for septic. So they would have looked at the soil and they go out and they do a site reconnaissance before they write this pre-approval letter. That's all I wanted to say.
I didn't see a response in writing in here. Was there one from Benton Franklin Health Department?
Yes,
It's in this.
yes. It's recommending preliminary approval.
But there's-
Obviously, when the lots are developed in the final plat, each lot will have to have the test and site evaluation done.
But in this documentation that we have, I see them addressing water, but not septic. And I may have missed it.
It was in the application. There was a letter from the health district. That's what condition number 1 refers to, and I believe that's,
They're required to respond to both, so I'm sure it's in here.
Okay. And I guess the next is only gonna be a statement, is my same little bit of frustration with the road department. This size of project, at what point does this trigger some sort of, road use study? And I get that they're going by the guidelines that they have in front of them, but clearly we've increased the traffic or potential traffic by this development and other developments, and the $500 mitigation fee is kind of laughable at this point to handle that. It wouldn't gravel a mile of road, so I'm not sure what the point of the $500 is.
So Commissioner, in the packet I gave you of new material that was been turned in
Okay?
is information from the road department, who based on the comments, it's in that packet. Based on the comments, they went back and made sure that the level of service would stay at a C, which is a requirement. And the mitigation fees are meant to address any issues that would come up related to the road inadequacy or future improvements that need to be made. Now, I will admit that we probably need to review the dollar amount at some point, but that'll be in the comp plan update, not at this juncture.
Sorry.
Any more questions from planners?
I got a question for staff in regards to, I also have a concern about the surrounding roads out there because I know them well. I live out in that area. But what does condition number 10 look like, the framework of that, as far as final approval by the county for the Richview water system? And what's the logistics of getting that water from substantially south across the Columbia River Road, and I believe also across the Esquazin?
This may not be a satisfactory or a satisfying answer, but the answer is that has to be determined under a separate permit application. It's not our job tonight with the PUD application to know all the details of the water system. We wouldn't be able to do that. You've seen there's tons of paperwork. So they're showing you, that this is in progress and what's already been approved, and they're showing you the approvals that have already come to light. But one thing I want to emphasize is that development is risky and expensive, and many times developers will come forward trying to get, this is called an entitlement, to move a project forward so that they know that they can make investments and move forward with other processes before they, say if they were to try to get the CUP changed first and then that didn't work, they like to have some assurance of what is possible and get the entitlement in place so that they can move forward with the other investment and investigative work. And then just, I wanted to let you know there was an email, and it was dated May 21st, I think as noted. And I can read it into the record. Hello, Nicole. This office has reviewed the above referenced SEPA DNS. Cherrywood Estates appears to generally meet all of our conditions asked for. These lots meet all usable land area requirements in accordance with Benton Franklin Health District Board of Health Rules and Regulations Number 2. We have no objections to the proposed plat. Thank you. This is from the Environmental Health Specialist 1.
I don't believe that was in our
Page 74.
Thank you.
page 74.
Yeah, and it addresses, although it doesn't specifically says that, they have to look at water and sewer. Or
And that's on the
septic.
application or
That's on page 74 of your packet.
Bottom right.
74, okay.
Yep. Any more questions from,
Yeah, my only question, this is for staff. I think Patrick mentioned this. I wasn't really clear on the statement on the fact that this development has been designated and planned for residential development for some time. Can you specify the time that this has been planned for?
It's my understanding from speaking with staff, it's been for about 20 years.
If you go back and you look at the 2008 comprehensive plan, which is archived on the website, you can go to the land use map from then and see even back at that time, the LAMIRD was already in place, the limited area of more intensive rural development. And it was designated as a rural shoreline development. I think they named that because it stretches pretty far and it's, I don't know why that they named it that. But also as a point of clarification, we did at the beginning of the outset of our presentation clarify that this is not in shoreline jurisdiction. And what we mean by that is that this is not subject to the Shoreline Management Act. So I just thought I'd clarify that because I know you guys might remember seeing that come before.
Okay, so can I add to that, since you're on that subject? The shoreline, and I think we mentioned that there are half-acre lots, 17 potentially along the existing Riverview. What is the difference between those residential lots and the proposed lots of half an acre or more?
That development wasn't done under a planned unit development process. And so those are lots of an acre in size. And so they're larger lots essentially. So they didn't include the open space benefit. That's the difference.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
any more questions? Okay, I will entertain a motion. Anybody? I'll do it myself. Can we have the motion back up, please?
No problem.
I'm sorry, I was reading something. I will second.
Nobody's made a motion yet.
Nobody's, oh, I'm sorry.
Does anybody want to make a motion?
I will make the motion. I move that the Franklin County Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to approve with conditions application PUD 2025-01 with the suggested findings of fact and conditions of approval as detailed in the staff report and modified following the hearing.
Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Gutierrez and seconded by Commissioner Corrales. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, your motion includes number 10?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure.
Thank you. I forgot about that.
Remy DeRue,
Yes.
Manny Gutierrez,
Yes.
Mike Vincent,
Yes.
Mike Corrales.
Yes.
Chairman, the motion has passed.
Thank you.
What about the DNS? It's been appealed. You rejected that with no reason.
So the DNS that was appealed went to our county attorney, and the county attorney had made a determination after checking with outside legal counsel that that appeal was untimely filed, and that any appeal that needs to be done can be done so in conjunction with the project within the time span of 14 days from today's hearing. So if you want to file an appeal against the SEPA, you have 14 days.
Hasn't that been done?
No, sir, that was withdrawn and sent back.
You guys returned it.
We returned it with the fee, based on legal counsel's advice.
So you just approved something without it?
No, sir, that's a recommendation of the county commissioners. The recommendation, the SEPA, and any of the recommendation is appealable in a 14-day period, according to our code, to the Board of County Commissioners. They make the final decision.
So the appeal process is 14 days after the commissioners meet?
After today, this hearing,
Okay.
yes.
So you can still
But
appeal
they
if
don't
you want
approve.
to.
They just recommend.
They just recommend, yes, sir.
I gotta tell you, your code is screwed up big time because it's not clear on several issues. I can guarantee you that.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on item 1.
Second.
Somebody has to make the motion first.
I'll move to close the hearing on SEPA.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner DeRue, seconded by Commissioner DeRuiter. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to take a
Thank you.
10-minute break, and then we're going to pick up the pace. I think that's right.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to get started. 8:33, we're going to start item 2. Item 2 is a public hearing for file CUP 2025-2 Perez Plants. This application is to allow for the sale of plants and agricultural products on site. The plants are trees not grown on site but are purchased, then replanted in pots on site and sold at designated storefront on the property. A specific location has been designated as customer parking and no more than 15 sales are expected per day. Hours of operation are set from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 7 days a week. This application is to allow advertising of the plant business online. May we have staff present the staff report, please?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Can you declare the hearing open with the gavel, please?
I declare the public hearing for CUP 2025-2 to be open.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Jem Bellamore, Planner 2 with the Franklin County Planning and Building Department. I will be presenting CUP 2502. On this slide, it gives the description of the site. It is located in 4920 Ivy Road, Pasco, Washington. It is currently zoned as Rural Residential 1. It has approximately 2.56 acres. This request, as mentioned, is to allow for the sale of plants and agricultural products on site. These plants and trees are grown off-site, purchased and replanted in pots on site, and sold at a designated storefront on the property. The applicant gave a specific location on a site plan on where the customers will be parking and gave information on where the plant business will be located. Hours of operation are set from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 7 days a week. This application will also allow for advertising of the plant business online. Here is the vicinity map where the property is located, and here is a site plan submitted by the applicant. As you can see on the north part of the property up here, this is the house of the applicant. This has been designated as parking. This has been designated for the plant business, and the rest has been designated for storage. In terms of planning analysis, the staff received originally a home occupation application from the applicant for the landscaping and plant business on the site. During the home occupation review process, staff have noted that plants were not planted and grown on site under the home occupation rules in the Franklin County Code. Anything that's sold under a home occupation needs to be grown on site. Thus, staff is requiring a conditional use permit from the applicant in order to allow for this business to run from their property. This conditional use permit is being applied for under a rural retail business and a greenhouse, which is permitted under a CUP for the RR1 district. I also want to note that Rural Residential 1 allows for rural businesses or small businesses in the area. This zone allows for the combination and the transition of residential in the rural neighborhood, and also allow for small businesses to occur within reason of the zoning and with compliance and compatibility with surrounding neighborhood. So we received agency comments, one from the Benton Franklin Health District that they reviewed the proposal and they meet all their conditions. The Benton Franklin Health District also required the applicant to have a Group B well on the property, since it will serve the residents and will end up being used as the source of irrigation for the greenhouse. The Franklin County Public Works Department reviewed the proposal and required an approach permit to access the Franklin County Road, and they deemed that there's no issues with with any increase in traffic to the proposed site as they propose the rural retail business. Franklin County GIS in E911 commented, and they have designated a new site address for the greenhouse that is separate from the building for 911 purposes. Franklin County Planning and Building Department added comments before construction of any structure related to the nursery, greenhouse, or rural retail business, a building permit shall be required. All structures shall comply with standards of the building code. Any structure shall not be sold separately from the primary dwelling unit. This is a condition specifically made for this project. All plants and agricultural products sourced from the off-site supplier and offered for sale to customers shall comply with applicable state and county regulations regarding prohibited and noxious plant species. The applicant shall contact the Franklin County Noxious Weed Control Board if any non-native or regulated noxious weeds are identified on the property or observed in shipments received from the suppliers. The applicant also added in their site plan that there will be fencing around their business and around their home. So the Planning and Building Department added a condition that fencing around the rural retail business must comply with fencing design standards under 17.74.050. We received 12 comments in favor of this proposal. Most of the comments stated that they have been long-term customers of Perez Plants and they are aware of this business. Some of the comments mentioned that they originally were a mile from their from their previous location and they just moved to a new location to fit their growing business space. I'm not going into details just so we can move along. We did receive one comment that is in opposition of this project from Victor and Sylvia Hubbard. Mr. and Mrs. Hubbard expressed that they strongly oppose this project. They mentioned that allowing commercial or business activity, even with conditions, undermines the very purpose of this zoning and erodes the expectation residents reasonably rely upon when choosing to live in these areas. This could set a precedent that could lead to further commercialization of rural residential properties, potentially increasing traffic, noise, and land use conflicts. They believe that any conditions imposed upon the CUP, if approved, is questionable due to the complaint-driven model of the code enforcement. They believe that conditions may not be imposed without regular oversight, which is not. Which they said that there is little assurance that the business will remain within its approved bounds. Based on the findings of fact, these are the recommendations of staff. The proposal is in accordance with the county's goals and policies regarding development regulations, zoning, and the applicable comprehensive plan. I would also like to note, like mentioned, that the construction of nurseries greenhouse requires a conditional use permit in the RR1 zone, and the sale of agricultural products grown or produced off-site requires a conditional use permit, which this project will cover. This proposal will not adversely affect public infrastructure based on the comment from Public Works Department. This proposal will be constructed, maintained, and operated in harmony with existing or intended character of the general vicinity. I quoted the Franklin County's Code 17.14.010. The existing and intended character of the area is rural residential. RR1 zone supports small-scale agriculture, low-density residential development, and rural economic activities that do not require urban-level services. The location and height of the proposed structure and site design will not discourage the development of permitted use on the property in the general vicinity or impair the value thereof. The operation in connection with the proposal will not be objectionable to nearby properties by reason of noise, fumes, vibrations, dust, traffic, or flashing lights that would that would be the operation of any permitted use within the district. And number 6, the proposal will not endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare if located where proposed. These are the suggested conditions of approval. Number 1 would be to comply with requirements of the Franklin County Public Works Department. Number 2 would be to comply with requirements of the Franklin County GIS and E911 addressing, which would require a separate address for the greenhouse. Number 3 would be to comply with requirements of the Franklin County Planning and Building Department, which was mentioned earlier. For outdoor lighting at the proposed nursery or rural retail business, and all existing structural shall be shielded down. Any discontinuance or abandonment of the approved use for a period of 1 year shall make this conditional use permit approval null and void. Any use of the proposed nursery or rural retail business for purposes other than the approved use shall deem this CUP null and void. The site shall be maintained at all times as to not let the land become a fire hazard or accumulate with debris and weed. It shall comply with Franklin County Fire Code as expressed in FCC Chapter 8.40. There's a mention of the right to farm, for them to be aware that this facility is located in an area where farming and farm operations exist. If any archaeological materials or human remains are observed, all work shall, in the immediate vicinity shall stop. Future expansions and improvements at the site shall comply with the submitted and approved plans. Any changes that is determined to be minor may be administratively approved by the planning department, and any major changes will need to be reapproved and reviewed by the planning commission through a new CUP. Nothing in the CUP approval shall be construed as excusing the applicant from compliance with any federal, state, or local statutes, ordinances, or regulations applicable to this project. In accordance with the county's zoning code, any special permit may be revoked by the Board of County Commissioners if after a public hearing it is found that the conditions upon which the special permit was authorized have not been fulfilled. This permit applies to the lands described and shall be for the above mentioned individuals and or his heirs and or assigns. And by accepting the issuance of this permit, they agree to accept full responsibilities for any and all operations or negligence occurring at this location, and any incidents that occur on surrounding properties caused by the operations or negligence at this location. Here is the suggested motion. I move to forward CUP 2025-02 to the Board of County Commissioners with a positive recommendation based on the 6 suggested findings of fact and 15 conditions of approval.
Does any commissioner have questions of staff? Does the applicant wish to speak? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Landa. I'm the owner of Perez Plants. We've been running that for 4 years. Well, when COVID starts, 5 years, and we work as a family, and my 3 kids and my husband, and we work together, and we try to have everything clean and nice. Even our neighbors now, they're happy because they say the property is looking nice. We live in the same property for 18 years, another address, and we always get along with our neighbors because we believe that neighbors is very important to be, get along with them. Because neighbors sometimes becomes friends, family, friends, and then family. That's our previous neighbors that we are. And now, we've been there for a year, and now our neighbors, they just go there and they love our place because we have a lot of plants and flowers and stuff, and they said it's good because that can prevent the fires. We clean every time the weeds, the tumbleweeds, and even one of the neighbors is a little bit, sometimes he's happy now. And because he says, oh, I like to see you trees and stuff. So we get along, and in those years that we've been doing this, we contribute to the community also. I have been sponsored the wrestling Chihuahua for a while because I believe in, like I said, community. And also, every year I do a fundraiser for the kids when they graduate, because, like I said, for me, education is like everything. Myself, like you can tell, I'm an immigrant, and I have a very, very, very strong accent. But I'm a realtor too. I've been realtor for 5 years, and I run the business. I can probably make more money, do the rest, the real estate. But what I like is, my goal is to teach my kids how to work. Because if you teach your kids how to work, you have better community. And I think having the good family is like good, not good kids because, they do crazy stuff like everyone. But to me, the family, we work as a family. We work at the flea market, and also we work there. We work 7 days a week. I'm not this color, like natural. I'm very, very dark now. But I love to do what I do because I can feel the people when they see a flower, they see plants, they see life. And like I said, I have been, if you go there and tell me, like, I have this problem with this community, and can you help me, like, do a fundraiser? I will give you a plant. I will give you a tree. To me, a tree is just like, just one tree, but for somebody else is something else. But we raise all our plants with love. And we have been having clients for like a lot of years. Like I said, we believe in get along with the community, and like our neighbors, we try to keep their privacy. We have a lot of trees to put for privacy. So we use those trees, that way we keep them the privacy. Because like I said, for me it's very important, the privacy of my family, so that's how I treat them, like as a family. And that's it. I don't know if you have any questions or...
Nope.
Okay.
We allowed to ask questions?
Yeah.
Is the business more seasonal?
Yes, it's seasonal, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's from March to November. By this time of the year, we wish we have 10 cells. We don't. we have very few right now, but like only like April and May, that's the busy time. We sell like fruit trees and any kind of plant like there from here. And also I have the permit, somebody goes there, the Department of Agriculture, they go there and check my plants. So this is not like just like they check my plants that I don't have like any weeds or like right now the Japanese beetle. I keep an eye on them, and I have those traps, and I keep to try my plants healthy.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So are you planting your seed, growing the plant, and wholesaling it?
No.
Or will this be a storefront where you're just buying the plant and growing it?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's the reason is the like special permit. Otherwise, it would be just like a right to farm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, got it. Wonderful. And if can I make a comment?
I guess.
Am I allowed? Okay, real quick. Coming from a landscape contractor myself, this is why Franklin County, Rural Residential 1 allows the conditional use permits for small-scale businesses like such. Because I started at my house once upon a time, my landscaping company, so I completely understand that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, is there any public testimony?
I have a comment, but I didn't make it on the list.
Yeah, we're going to not go off the list.
I have a comment, but I didn't make it on your
We need a name
signage.
and address.
My name is Blanche Barajas, City of Pasco, 2203 North 7th Avenue.
Okay.
And I just wanted to add a little bit to what Jessica was saying. You can definitely tell the passion when she's talking about her business. One of the things that I noticed, I'm also a consumer of her plants. My landscaping in my house, I bought a very old home about 6 years ago that needed a complete overhaul. You drive by my house, the front of my house is designed to attract. And that's what her business is. I've been to her business. One of the things that has happened when she moved into the new location, she lined if you bring up the picture, she lined the perimeter of her business with trees to where it controls dust, it controls to the neighbors, it controls, and she's got programmed irrigation to where it's constantly irrigating, watering all these plants. So again, controlling dust, blowing into the neighbors. So when she initially had moved into this location, it was arid, it was dead. There was nothing out there, tumbleweeds that she now cleans up. But you can tell the perimeter of the 300 square feet where the plants are, it's all controlled irrigation. So again, mitigating the potential fire hazards out there because of the heat or any damage to neighbors with possible open windows. But again, my vote is to, ask you to allow this, and thank you again for listening to me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to comment?
My name is Juan Perez, same place as my mom, 4920 Ivy Road, and I'll say this. Yeah, the arborvitaes we put up to block out for our neighbors, man, me and my old man, we set it up. We set up the duct systems ourselves throughout winter. So I kind of laughed when he said seasonal job, because I'm like, man, you don't stop. You don't stop no matter what. That's what my old man taught me. And respect to my old man, because he's part of the reason why Perez Plants exists in the first place. We started out in California.
Can you speak into the mic?
Oh, my bad. I'm very soft-spoken. My old man, he's been doing this for longer than I've been alive, and I guess he cultivated me along with the plants here. He puts so much effort in these things, like, man, you wouldn't believe. Everyone looks at him like some sort of shaman. Working at the flea market, like, first you notice the money, then you notice the people just surrounding it. And I don't think I've ever seen that man smile more than when he gives someone what they need. That's why I completely understand with just providing that essence of community. And I hope one day I can do the same thing. But until then, I gotta worry about my neighbor filing a complaint. And no, honestly, he is pretty chill now. We try to keep it even. His goats ate our arborvitaes. But I'm just gonna keep it brief. We've been here for a while. I'm Juan Perez, and I motion positively towards this movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments? Okay, is there any email public testimony?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Does staff have any final comments?
No, Mr. Chairman.
I will entertain a motion to close the public comment.
Second.
I'll move that we close the public comment.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Vincent and seconded by Commissioner DeRuiter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. The public testimony portion for CUP 2025-2 is closed. Is there any discussion amongst the planning members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move to forward CUP 2025-02 to the Board of County Commissioners with a positive recommendation based on the 6 suggested findings of fact and 15 conditions of approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner DeRuiter and seconded by Commissioner Vincent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Public hearing is closed. Item 3. Item 3 is public hearing for CUP 2025-5, Collins DADU. This application is to allow for the construction of a detached accessory dwelling unit to provide sufficient housing for a family member to care for an aging parent. The proposed DADU will be approximately 1,200 square feet of floor space, which is under the allowable 1,600 square feet of floor space for DADUs. I declare the public hearing for CUP 2025-5 open at 8:59. May we have staff present the staff report, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Jem Bellamore again, Planner 2. I will present CUP 2025-05. This proposal is from Kelly Collins, applied for by Mr. Robert Rickman from Hatton Homes. This CUP is located in, the DADU will be located in 2401 North Bellevue Road, Eltopia, Washington. The property is zoned AP20. It is approximately 5.89 acres in size. The conditional use permit is to allow for the construction of a DADU, which will provide sufficient housing for a family member, which will be Ms. Collins' son. This is for the son to care for an aging parent, which is Ms. Collins. The proposed detached ADU will be approximately 1,200 square feet in floor space. Here is the location, the site location. The home exists up here, and the detached ADU will be here. The applicant submitted a site plan, which not visible, but if you look into your packet, it should be on page 4 of the packet. The DADU will be on the west side here, the north west side of the property. There is gravel parking and a garage located on the site, and they do have the proposed size of the manufactured home, which will be the DADU, is 27 by 44 feet in size. The proposed use is in accordance with the goals and policies of the Franklin County Comprehensive Plan. Staff received no public comments during the notice period. The Benton Franklin Health District gave a comment regarding this detached ADU, and they have reviewed the condition, the CUP with the proposed detached accessory dwelling units, and they generally meet all the conditions asked for. One thing I want to note is the application did not have an attached septic permit yet. Based on my conversations with the applicant and the owner, they want to make sure that the CUP is approved prior to applying for a septic permit due to the length of time for test holes needing done, and if they are denied, they are not going to move forward with applying for a septic permit. I want to point out that I added that as one of the conditions for the CUP if it does get approved, that they need to apply for a septic permit from the health district prior to applying for a building permit. The Franklin County Public Works Department made a comment that it will not have significant impact on the county road system, and an approach permit will be required for the detached ADU. E911 gave a comment that a future address will be given to the new ADU and will be set as 2403 North Bellevue Road. The house will remain the same address. Like I mentioned, Planning and Building Department gave comments almost the same as the previous CUP, with the added condition that an approved septic permit shall be required from the Benton Franklin Health District prior to the construction of the detached ADU. This proposal is in accordance with the goals and policies of the county development regulations and the applicable comprehensive plan. The AP20 allows for a detached ADU in an AP20 zoning district under a conditional use permit. This proposal will not adversely affect public infrastructure. This proposal will be constructed, maintained, and operated in harmony with existing or intended character of the general vicinity. The location and height of the proposed structure and site design will not discourage the development of permitted uses on the property in the general vicinity. The operation in connection with the proposal will not be more objectionable to nearby properties by reason of noise, fumes, vibrations, dust, traffic, or flashing lights. The proposal will not endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare if located where proposed. The suggested conditions of approval listed they must comply with requirements from the Public Works Department. They must comply with requirements from the Franklin County GIS and E911. They must comply with requirements from the Franklin County Planning and Building Department, including the added condition that a septic permit a septic permit is required prior to the construction of the DADU. Outdoor lighting at the proposed DADU and all existing structures shall be shielded down. Any discontinuance or abandonment of the approved use for a period of 1 year shall make this conditional use permit approval null and void. Any use of the proposed DADU for purposes other than the approved use shall deem this conditional use permit approval null and void. The site shall be maintained at all times as to not let land become a fire hazard or accumulate with debris and weeds. It shall comply with Franklin County Fire Code. It talks about the right to farm within the county, and they shall be aware that this facility is located in an area where farming and farm operations exist. And should there be any archaeological materials or human remains, it shall be reported, and all activities and work shall be stopped immediately. Future expansions and improvements shall comply with the submitted approved plans. Minor or incidental changes may be approved by the planning department, and any major changes it shall be reviewed by the planning commission through a new CUP. Nothing in the CUP approval shall be construed or excusing applicant from compliance with other state, local, and federal statutes, ordinances, or regulations. The Board of County Commissioners may revoke the special permit if after public hearing it is found that the conditions have not been fulfilled. This permit applies to lands described and shall be for the above mentioned individuals and or his heirs and or assigns. And this talks about the acceptance of full responsibility for any and all operations and any possible incidents or negligence about the location and the proposed project. Here is the suggested motion by staff. I move to forward CUP 2025-05 to the Board of County Commissioners with a positive recommendations based on the 6 suggested findings of fact and 15 conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any commissioner have any questions? Does the applicant wish to speak? Is there any in-person public testimony? Oh, you're gonna?
I'm Kelly Collins at 2401 North Bellevue Road, and we were gifted a manufactured home, and I'd like to put it on my 5 acres. That's it.
Thank you. Is there any in-person public testimony?
Robert Rickman, 6119 West Pearl Street, Pasco, Washington. Ms. Collins has engaged me to help her get through this permitting process and be her contractor if it's approved. And I just have a couple comments. I don't think that there's going to be any impact on the farming activity with this home out there. And I think that this is a tiny little step in resolving our housing shortage here. And staff has done a great job of reviewing it all. That's all I've got. Questions?
I got a question. What's the standard as far as the manufactured homes, as far as building code compliance and that kind of thing?
1,600, I think.
As far as,
All the exterior finishes, as far as,
I
building
think
permit?
that in Franklin County, as long as you have a HUD-built home, which would be a home that's built after 1976, it meets the requirements. There used to be some zones where they had some age restrictions and stuff, but I think that's all gone from the,
What's the date of this home?
it's a 95 or 96. It's what I consider to be a modern generation manufactured home.
It will require the LNI, alteration and life safety application, since it's a 1975.
No, it's a 95 or 96.
Oh, it's a 95, sorry.
Yeah. No,
More like a modular home then?
it's a manufactured home.
So it's stick framed, right?
Yes, it is. It has a metal frame that is part of the transport mechanism, and that metal frame stays with it in place. It's part of the foundation system. The tires and axles come off, the hitches come off, but the metal frame stays, basically 2 long I-beams on each section of the home.
Right. But you're able to get all the insulation requirements fulfilled because of the way that it's built. It's already insulated and all set up.
If this is a 1996, it was probably built during the super good sense era of the manufactured homes. That was predominantly what was built in that era. I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact R values of the walls and ceiling.
I know
but
just staff is gonna be looking at, as far as permitting and code and everything else, what they would look at as far as acceptance and final occupancy type thing.
So, Mr. Commissioner, that would be part of the building inspection and approval.
Right.
That's not part of the CUP. But yes, it would have to meet all the standards. And if it's built in 96, that would generally meet all the requirements. We just have to make sure it's LNI inspected. And our folks will inspect the site when the building permit is applied for.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more public testimony? Any email public testimony?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Does staff have any final comments?
No, Mr. Chairman.
I will entertain a motion to close the public comment.
Move to close the public comments.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Giroux and seconded by Commissioner Vincent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The public testimony portion of public hearing CUP 2025-05 is closed. Is there any discussion from the Planning Commission members? I would entertain a motion.
I move to forward CUP 2025-5 to the Board of County Commissioners with a positive recommendation based on the 6 suggested findings of fact and 15 conditions of approval.
I'll second.
Been moved by Commissioner DeRue and seconded by Commissioner Gutierrez. Is there any discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Remy DeRue,
Yes.
Manny Gutierrez,
Yes.
Mark DeRuiter,
Yes.
Mike Vincent,
Yes.
Mike Corrales.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion has passed.
I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing on item number 3.
I move to close the public hearing for on item number 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the,
Oh, we did that.
no, we closed discussion. Now we're
discussion.
closing this. These are add-on things. I don't know when they
Okay.
started, but it's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. We're tired. It's fine, Mike. You're good.
Okay. Item 4 is a public hearing for file CUP 2025-6 Schultz Commercial Intermittent Kitchen. This application is to allow for the remodeling of an existing 30 by 30 detached structure as a commercial intermittent kitchen. The proposed commercial intermittent kitchen will be used for the making of frozen custard and Italian ice from pre-made mix that is shipped to the address. The homeowners will move frozen products from the commercial intermittent kitchen to a food truck to be served at local events in Franklin County. All activities are done solely within the confines of the structure other than sales. No sales are being made on the property. I declare the public hearing for CUP 2025-6 to be open at 9:14. May we have staff present the staff report, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. I will present CUP 2025-06. It is located in 2250 Buffalo Lane, Mesa, Washington. It is zoned AP 20 and has approximately 1.95 acres. The CUP, like mentioned, is for the remodeling of an existing structure as a commercial intermittent kitchen. Anything that they are bringing into the detached commercial kitchen is a pre-made mix. So there are no sales being conducted on the property. This is solely just to mix any of the pre-made mix into Italian ice and frozen custard. Here is the location of the site, and this is the submitted building plans from the applicant. Half of the existing building will be converted into the intermittent commercial kitchen. I would like to point out that we've had a pre-app meeting with the applicant, which included the Benton Franklin Health District, both from the environmental health side and the food safety side. And I would like to point out that the planning department received, as part of the application from the applicant, a construction approval from the food safety side of the Benton Franklin Health District, which reviewed their proposal and their building plans. And they have deemed that as presented, it complies with their food safety requirements. The proposed use is in accordance with the goals and policies of the Franklin County Comprehensive Plan. The Planning and Building Department received no comments from surrounding property owners and residents within the county. The Benton Franklin Health District gave a comment that they've reviewed the proposal and it meets the general requirements and conditions asked for. The Public Works Department gave a comment and mentioned that the proposed use will not have any significant impact to the county road system. E911 Addressing and GIS made a comment that a new site address will be given to the detached structure, which is different from the existing home. Planning and Building Department gave comments same as the previous comments, with the added condition that no sales shall be conducted on the property. All frozen food processing related to the intermittent commercial kitchen must occur entirely within the existing structure, with the exception of transporting supplies and finished goods to and from the site. This proposal is in accordance with the goals and policies of the county development regulations and the applicable comprehensive plan. This is being put in front of the Planning Commission under a CUP under creamery, bottling, ice manufacture, and cold storage plant, which requires a CUP under the AP20 zoning district. This proposal will not adversely affect public infrastructure. The proposal will be constructed, maintained, and operated in harmony with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. The location and height of the proposed structure and site will not discourage the development of permitted uses on the property in the general vicinity or impair the value thereof. The operation in connection with the proposal will not be more objectionable to nearby properties by reason of noise, fumes, vibrations, dust, traffic, or flashing lights. The proposal will not endanger public health, safety, or general welfare if located where proposed. As suggested conditions of approval, we put in that they must comply with the requirements of the Benton Franklin Health District, food safety. It's in the report. We didn't include it in here because it went from A to P. There was a long list of conditions from the food safety department. They must comply with the Franklin County Public Works Department requirements on needing an approach for it. They must comply with requirements of E911 and GIS, that a new address be designated for the intermittent commercial kitchen. They must comply with requirements of the Franklin County Planning and Building Department, which is the same as the previous ones, other than no sales shall be conducted on the property. All frozen food processing related must be entirely within the existing structure. Outdoor lighting at the proposed detached structure and all existing structures shall be shielded down. Any discontinuance or abandonment of the approved use for a period of 1 year shall make this CUP null and void. Any use of the proposed project for the purposes other than what has been approved shall deem this CUP null and void. The site shall be maintained at all times and not let it become a fire hazard or accumulate debris and weeds. It shall comply with fire code. The applicant shall be aware that the facility is located in an area where farming and farm operations exist. Should any archaeological materials or human remains be observed, all work in the immediate vicinity shall stop. Future expansions or improvements other than minor or incidental changes must be approved and reviewed by the Planning Commission under a new CUP. Nothing in the CUP approval shall be construed to excuse from any other regulations or ordinances or statutes. In accordance with the county zoning code, the Board of County Commissioners may revoke the special permit if conditions have not been fulfilled. This permit applies to the lands described and the above mentioned individuals and his or her heirs or assigns. And the last one would be the applicant accepts full responsibility for any and all operations, any and all negligence, and incidents that occur regarding this property in any of the projects or actions proposed. Here is the suggested motion by staff. I move to forward CUP 2025-06 to the Board of County Commissioners with the positive recommendations based on 6 suggested findings of fact and 16 conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any commissioner have any questions of staff? Does the applicant wish to speak? And you do not have to. You're the applicant?
Yes, I am. That's how it's listed on here, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
DSL. Yep. Dave Hardy, DDSL, General Contracting, representing Travis and Michelle Schultz. A couple of quick items of interest. Number one, it is Buffalo Road, not Buffalo Lane. So that's one correction. Number two, commercial kitchen, we already have the approved septic permit from Benton Franklin Health Department. We already have that. Test holes were done, permit's been issued, we just haven't done that yet, waiting for a tank to arrive. We've already paid the fee for the South Columbia Basin Irrigation District fee to cross the canal, which was a new one to me because both access points, both to the garage, which will be the commercial kitchen, and their property, both cross over a buried irrigation canal. Number three, the road approach permit was already done. It was evaluated by the road department. They came out, said with no additional traffic, because there's no point of sales on site, there's no reason to do anything for the approach permit, and what's already there is sufficient. Only other point that I would like to make is commercial kitchen might throw up red flags. There is no cooking source in this structure. This is purely ice. It's cold, it's frozen. There's no heat, they're not cooking anything. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's powder form that comes in frozen, or it's a frozen product, and then it goes into the freezer. There is nothing that's heated. So the fire suppression aspect, this is literally the next step short of building permit and installation credits being engineered. Other than that, that's all I had. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there any more public testimony? Is there any email public testimony?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Does staff have any final comments?
No, Mr. Chairman.
I will entertain a motion to close the public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we move towards closing the public comment.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Vincent, seconded by Commissioner DeRuiter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Public testimony portion of public hearing for CUP 2025-6 is closed. Is there any discussion amongst the planning members? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I move to forward CUP 2025-06 to the Board of County Commissioners with a positive recommendation based on the 6 suggested findings of fact and 16 conditions of approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Gutierrez, seconded by Commissioner DeRuiter. Is there any discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Remy DeRue,
Yes.
Manny Gutierrez.
Yes.
Mark DeRuiter,
Yes.
Mike Vincent,
Yes.
Mike Corrales.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion has passed.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing on item number 4.
A motion to close the hearing on item number 4.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner DeRuiter and seconded by Commissioner Vincent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Public hearing closed. Other business, none. Administrative items.
Commissioners, we still need you to fill out your forms for that OPM, Open Public Meetings Act training. Great. If you have them, please give them to staff. If you don't have them, please get them done. You put the county at risk if you don't have those done. It's real easy online. If you need the instructions again, please let us know. We'll send them out. It doesn't take very long. It's a pretty easy process, but we do get audited on those. The county does, and we don't want a finding. So
Question on that. So there, I
Yes,
saw
sir.
that link, and there's just basically a video of the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. Is that what it is? It's certified?
it should only last about 20 minutes, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you need help, just call us. We'll walk you through where the right one is.
I think I got
It's literally, you can do it in about 5 minutes. And then one last thing, if you guys do not need your books, please leave them and we will take them back. I will reuse them for the county commissioners. in order to save a few trees. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll let you turn it back to you for public comment.
Okay. There is no member here, so the meeting is adjourned, and I want to bring something up. Wes had some issues with me, and he told me, and I accepted them, and I want to ask the staff to please have this meeting ready to roll on time. We got, I mean, I don't know what it is or what it takes, but get them here 10 minutes early and get this, we've had this a lot of times.
So we emailed, I was at a staff meeting I was at as director.
I know.
I emailed Bo at IT. They followed up. They emailed Bo at or the staff at IT. They were called ahead of time to make sure they were gonna be here. I apologize.
No, I understand.
But it's on IT here.
And, well, I don't know who
but
IT
I will-
is, but I know that the meeting didn't start on time. We had a room full of people where it's 9:30 at night, you know. I understand, but, and this is your first one. I've been with you. Before we had these, we had a deal before where our meetings at, well, is it real? Well, not as bad as this one, but we had meetings before where at 8 o'clock, the whole meeting would shut down. And they knew it. They knew that there was a redo at 8 o'clock and we'd have to stop the whole meeting. You know, we gotta get these things worked out while people are here waiting to do this stuff.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Now, I'm not chewing anybody out. I just
well,
don't
no,
understand. I can't do the IT stuff. I don't get it.
I will bring it up to the director of that department, and I'll bring it up to the administrator.
And I'll talk to him.
This has, however, been an ongoing issue even previous to what.
No, yeah, it's not you. It's not you. It's just been on and on and on.
We need to get it fixed.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's
I-
ridiculous to sit here for 15 or 20
No.
minutes. And,
Especially
I mean,
tonight.
It was lucky that I had the phone number to get a hold of somebody at all. Otherwise, we'd do something different. But, I mean, I think one of the suggestions we might have is, we can invest in a recorder.
Exactly.
If we can't get it started, we'll just start on time
Yeah.
and record it that way,
'Cause-
rather than on the YouTube. But I will definitely bring that up, sir. I was not very happy myself.
I know. I know.
Kind of, for me, just minor, it has nothing to do with this. So we used to all get that thing that Mike has, the agenda, the
script?
The script. We would all get it because then it would have the proposed,
But this didn't have the motions on it today.
Oh.
It didn't. It should have the motions.
So we used to have that, we used to all get it, and then we would also be able to go back and review all those findings instead of just what was on the screen. We would get that packet that Mike was getting, we were all getting it.
Okay.
And is there a reason we didn't
So I
have
have
the-
changed the script, and the reason I changed the script is having been a county commissioner for 12 years and dealing with lots of lawsuits and stuff. I will tell you that some of the stuff that was being done inappropriately. So some of the script and stuff we've reworked, even the sign-in sheet, you'll notice that we kind of modified that a little bit. We've even modified the closed record hearing in front of the Board of County Commissioners. As staff, I don't give another report. It's a closed record hearing. I give them a copy of everything a week before the hearing. They are supposed to review it. They open it up. They have a chance to ask me about anything that's in the closed record hearing. There is no public testimony. They make a decision based on everything that's in here without any public input and no presentation from staff. If I, as staff, present in front of the Board of County Commissioners, there's a very high likelihood that I would inject something that's not in the record. So you don't do that. In an appeal, it's only those people that do appeal, they get to talk on their direct appeal. They cannot bring in anything that's outside of the record. So there's a lot of stuff tonight, like me reading all that stuff in there. I really suspect someone they've already appealed it once, wasn't valid. I suspect they're gonna appeal it again. We need to make sure that we're doing the process right. And the reason I say that is because the liability of the county is very high if we don't. I've had an executive session with the attorney in
Wes,
front of the county commissioners
Commissioners,
to go over that.
I just want to confirm we haven't adjourned the meeting yet.
It's adjourned.
It's adjourned.
Adjourned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anyway, we're just trying to clean up some of those processes and stuff, but yeah,
Yeah,
I can get you the staff report.
Yeah.
The hard part about this, just from our logistical standpoint, is